Welcome to the Free to Play podcast. I'm your beautiful, sexy host, joined by my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Mr. Floating Orb.
Yes, it is I, the floating orb of the finger point.
And today, we need to go ahead and address elephant in the room, the big, glaring question I know you guys have. Andrew changed his color.
Yeah, I know. I figured I would change it to fit more in line with the color scheme of this podcast we do here. It doesn't fix the blurriness of the floating orb that is I, but I'm trying.
Indeed, you're doing really good. And with that, this is the Free to Play podcast. What's my housekeeping? I always forget to really look at the show notes and fill shit out. Our big new thing is we are live on Twitch right now. We are doing oh shit. Okay, now you can hear Floating Orb. So apologies. That goes along with we are now doing we already have been doing video episodes. We're streaming now. We're live right now. You can be in the chat with us right now. Just like Slim Thickums. I know who you are. I'm just not saying your name. But one of my good friends, so thanks for checking out the podcast like you could be doing every whatever night we decide to record. That's just how it is.
Yeah, it tends to be a little sporadic because we're professionals and professionals are sporadic.
Dude, I'm too sporadic. We've been largely consistent on this show, but this past month or two it's been bad. So that's
whenever we're not consistent, we're really not consistent.
Exactly, dude. And that's what I have in show notes right now is the real openers. Where the fuck have we been? Where have we been, Andrew?
Well, sick. For one thing, everybody in my house got really sick, and I didn't have a very good voice for doing shit. It got better at around the time that we started playing Minecraft or whatever together. I got a lot better then, but for a while there, everybody in the house got super sick. It wasn't COVID or anything, thank God. Because we never went to get tested or anything to make sure it wasn't, but it wasn't anything bad. It was just the common sore throats and everything. Sore throats, runny noses, puffy eyes, shit like that. So probably some kind of common cold thing. But I could not my throat in particular got really bad. I could not fucking speak, and I actually had to. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not particularly fond of tea or coffee. But my mother kept recommending this tea that we had a little bit of in the house to try and help out my throat, and it got so bad and uncomfortable that I broke down and tried to drink some of that tea, and it was awful.
Jesus, dude, I didn't know it was that bad. I'm really sorry, man. That sounds fucking rough. I'm glad everything's all right though.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm feeling a lot better nowadays. But yeah, our whole house got hit with a major fucking sickness strike thing.
Jesus. Well, one of us has a valid excuse then.
Oh really? What have you been up to then?
So I guess we need to take it back to the PS5 episode, which if you guys have seen that episode, you know it starts with the disclaimer, hey, this was filmed November 15th, and I uploaded it I have it pulled up right here. I uploaded that fateful episode on December 18th. So, it had been a while. So basically the thing was, we recorded that, and then a couple of days happened. I was kind of lazy and I didn't edit it, so it's my fault. But then we went to family. I went to go visit my family for Thanksgiving safely, of course. Tests, everything, we're good. It wasn't a big gathering either, but I went to go visit my family, and so that kind of took a while. I was there for a little bit, and then a kind of came back, and then I guess I had forgot about it for a little bit. Kind of forgot that the episode needed to be uploaded, and then when I got to it, there was like some issues with it, and it was kind of frustrating me. So luckily, I was able to get the edit done and like be kind of smooth for like what I had to do. So apologies for that delay. And then after that, I guess I went to go visit family again for Christmas and New Year's. So around now, like a week or two ago, I've finally been settling back into life, getting back to work and everything. So just needed a little bit to kind of like settle back in after the holidays and everything, playing some games. As you'll see, I have a huge fucking list of what we've been playing this week.
Of what you've been playing this week.
Oh yeah,
And not this week, but for
yeah,
like
these past
the
2
whole
months.
hiatus.
Exactly. So a lot of these, like I said, a lot of these will be before the last episode 7 came out. So for us, we haven't recorded since November 15th. And
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's January 25th now. I've also been doing a few things with Uncultured Opinions, kind of going over there, while Andrew's been like doing his stuff, which is fine, obviously. I need to point that out because it sounds like I was like being like sly, but I honestly didn't care. Andrew has his own life.
I sure do.
So, with that out of the way, I guess we can get back to housekeeping. Follow us on GG. Everything in the description. Twitter at the F2P_podcast. Ask us questions like nobody did this week. I'm not salty. I just like talking to people. So ask us some questions. Give
I'm
us
just
reviews.
salty about not talking to people.
Exactly. I just want to talk to people, man. That's why I do this. Instagram at the F2P podcast, and then YouTube at the Free to Play podcast. We're also on streaming services, almost any you could think of. We're on YouTube now. We're live on Twitch. So if you want to watch us, support us, there's a lot of ways to do so. I'm also hosting this on my main account, so if you follow me there, you can chill. And if you're watching there, feel free to follow. Come stop by the actual channel and give us a follow and support us. It would mean a lot. But until then, Andrew, what have you been playing these past couple months?
Okay, well, my list may not be quite as robust as yours. But I've been playing a few things. Most of my time has been occupied by playing Minecraft Windows 10 edition. Because Windows 10 is basically like one of the only like I guess console-esque platforms that I really have anymore, at least currently. And this is a version of the game this is probably one of the games I've had for like the longest period of time since I like that one move happened and I lost like literally everything game wise. But yeah, since that time, which was many eons ago, this is a Minecraft Windows 10 edition is probably one of the games that I've had for the longest period of time since then. So I've been playing it for quite a while in my life. And here recently, I like really wanted because I always play it off and on. I usually stop playing it when I get to the more like grindy sections, like when I'm trying to work on villager stuff and all that, because it gets a little monotonous after a while, and I don't have the like attention span to keep doing that for a while. So I'll eventually just stop doing that, and then that's when I fall off of Minecraft completely. And then when I go back to playing it, I'll usually like start a new world or something, just to start fresh. Because that tends to be a little more fun before I get to those grindy bits. But this more recent time when I came around to playing it again, I considered deleting my world and starting a new one, but like I also started looking through my achievement list, and over the course of like the years that I've played this version of the game, at least, I had like I think 72% of all of the achievements unlocked.
Damn.
Yeah. So I was looking at that and looked at like I think I have like maybe about like 30 so achievements left to go. So
It's not bad.
I could just keep playing on this world since this world is where I have all my stuff, and I can just try to push through the rest of the grind and try and get through the Ender Dragon and all that to get to like the next section of the game where I might get a little more enjoyment out of it and just try to do some good old fashioned achievement hunting. And now I have almost all of them. I think I only have I don't remember how many I have left exactly, but I think I have only a single digit number left.
That's
I
insane.
believe. I could be wrong on that. I could definitely be wrong because it has been like a few weeks since I last played.
Mm.
Because I kind of fell off of it again. I have come back to it like here and there, but it's again a lot more grind stuff. Like I've been trading a lot with the villagers that I have, getting them all maxed out and stuff. To like mainly for all the emeralds that they bring, so I can power up the beacon fully. And I'm a pretty decent way through that. Just like I think I'm almost done with like the second to last level of the pyramid. But they take a long time because there's a lot of blocks that go into it, and I'm using emeralds to build it. So,
Mm.
yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
I
so
think like
I was gonna piggyback off of that, but you can go ahead and finish real quick.
yeah, all I was gonna say was just like reiterate the fact that I only have a few achievements left to earn on that. So when I do get back to it, I'll probably have more grinding stuff left to do, but I won't have like too much achievement hunting type stuff left to do. Most of what I've done has consisted of going back and forth between just casually working on my homestead, my whole like base of operations, villager trading, and bombing the shit out of the Nether to get all the netherite that I needed for the all netherite armor achievement.
Jesus. Yeah, so I'll piggyback off of that. I've been spoiler alert, Minecraft's on my list as well for like games I've just been spending way too much time in, man. Like when I do my list, we'll get to it, but like Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a game that like for so long after launch it was so hard for me to like get into it or like invest myself again because I enjoyed the game. So it was funny. I started just playing Minecraft because I was bored, and then in the matter of a week, I'd put 50 hours into the game on PlayStation trying to get all the trophies. Mind you, not as insane as Andrew. I'm just going for the base set platinum. Andrew's going for all 100 something achievements.
A
So
hundred
like
percent completion.
exactly. So his is more impressive, but like still I'm trying to get all that and we were playing together, but like it was at this point where I'm like, I need to fucking play Valhalla because if I just commit a week to Valhalla like I did for Minecraft, just played 50 hours in a week, then like that would be a huge chunk just gone, you know? And like, spoiler alert, I kind of did that. But yeah, Minecraft's just been so fun. Like, me and Andrew played together, like, for like a couple days, and both like one lasted maybe 6 hours, and the other felt like I think it lasted around like 13 or so. Like it was,
Yeah, like I think like the third time we played together, we played like all day.
yeah, it was insane. Like we were farming villagers, and then we ended up beating the Ender Dragon, and we were just like going ham. And I love the world that we were working on. Like I love what we've done with it. I love what I've done with it. I want to keep playing. Even when I got back home from the holidays, I started playing again before I got sucked into Valhalla, and I want to go back. I don't know when I'll have the time, but I want to play Minecraft again. Mind you, it's not the first time I played Minecraft. I've been obsessed with that game since I was like 11. Probably put 3,000 hours into it my entire life, but I hadn't played it on PlayStation much, so this was really like my trophy hunting kind of like playthrough, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was my first time really like doing XP farms or villager farms and stuff like that. Like I've always just kind of played vanilla. I barely beat the Ender Dragon on like survival because like I said, as a kid, it's like you'd beat it on creative, but even when I played survival, I played so many fucking worlds, so it was hard to like keep progress on one. Or I would play a lot creative because I made mini games a lot, or I wanted to build certain maps, so that was kind of my time. So it was really cool, like going through and grinding this game. Like the way it should be, I guess, and exploring it as an adventure game.
Yeah, more of an adventure and less of a sandbox if you're wanting to go that route.
I would agree with that. It's a solid like statement.
Yeah. It's not like a wrong way to play it or anything, because the whole appeal of it is that it is so open as it is. Like, sure, it has a lot of like adventure mode type mechanics. It has like a lot of the experience points and some other stuff like that, but that's never really anything you have to like fool with. You don't really have to fool with any of that progression. You could easily just have a world where you just build some shit. If you want to do that in survival and whatnot, you can just go ahead and do that. Uh there's no like set story to follow. Sure, there's like a progression system you can pursue if you want to, but
Mm.
you wouldn't be wrong for doing that, and you wouldn't be wrong for following it the way that you do, whether you just do it like in a very casual manner, or whether you go like full fucking auto farms, like fucking entire encampments of villagers and shit like that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, playing it that way was like such a different like way of experiencing the game, and I even had fun. Like we were making fucking, we made a XP farm using like dried kelp and bamboo and shit, and it worked. It was really solid. Like it didn't break the game. Like it's something I built with my own two hands. So like,
Right.
but it was fucking fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I guess both of us have been playing more recently, and it's been an enjoyable experience. One of the other games, speaking of like survival type games that I played a little bit of, or I say a little bit, but it takes a long time to like fully go through. Was Don't Starve. It was the giant edition for like console and Windows 10.
Mhm.
Guess which one I played it on. Um, so
Stadia.
you got it. Um, so I Don't Starve was always a game that I like really wanted to like enjoy quite a bit because it looked very unique with its art style and stuff. Like I liked looking at it, and I liked some of like its unique like sort of mechanics and creatures and stuff like that. I thought it was an impressive world and an impressive style and shit like that. But actually playing through the game, I did not enjoy it very much.
Damn, really?
It's Yeah, and that's sad to say. And I've kind of always held this opinion because I've played it like on and off again like through the years because I have I have it and like its expansions and stuff on Steam. I don't think I have Hamlet, but I have like all the other ones on Steam. So I've played the original game like on and off here and there, and like it can be enjoyable for like I don't know, maybe a couple hours,
Mm.
but after that it really starts to drag, especially if you're like me and you're not super skilled at games. You're probably not going to last too many days before you wind up dying and having to start all over and shit again, and that can get a little tiring. I think one of the only things that really like kept me like consistently playing through it was the promise of like if you survive a certain number of days you get like experience that fills up an experience bar, and every time you fill that experience bar you unlock a new character. So a new character is like a slightly different experience because they all have their own strengths and weaknesses and stuff, and that aspect of it is pretty cool. And I think that's one of the stronger appeals of like Don't Starve Together, which is like the multiplayer version, where you and your friends can be all those different characters and stuff, and they all have their own strengths and weaknesses and shit like that. Um, I I didn't do that though, because what I did was I I survived like I think like 80 to 90 days or something, because it's cumulative. So I just started a world and survived that many days in a world in a row in order to just go ahead and unlock all those characters. Except for the ones like I think Wes and Weber, like characters like that who you have to go discover, but they're not like too difficult to like go discover and find.
Yeah.
Weber, you can go kill a spider, it'll drop a skull, you bury the skull, and then there you go. Um, the thing that was most frustrating about playing Don't Starve, though, was the adventure mode, which I thoroughly did not enjoy in the slightest. I really hated it
Really?
because I really did not like adventure mode because the way adventure mode is structured is it's like a five chapter it's like a chapter structure. Each chapter is a new world that you get thrown into. You get a couple of things to start you off with. You get a divining rod, and you use that divining rod to go find a bunch of mechanical parts, and then the base that you have to go put all those mechanical parts on. And then you when you put all those mechanical parts on the base, it powers up this machine. You know, you can and then that lets you go to the next world, the next chapter. Um, wouldn't be too big of a problem, but the worlds themselves are really big. They take forever to explore, and if you're like me, you don't want to spend like fucking 20 plus days just trying to survive in the world and then like trying to make a little progress here and there. You want to be constantly on the move so you can go and find all these parts and just try to get through it quickly. Because if you die during any of these chapters, you are out of the door and you have to start fresh from chapter 1, and it
Damn.
sucks. It sucks dicks, and I hate it.
Yeah,
Um,
so that doesn't sound like a fun experience at all.
it's not a fun experience. I don't like it's I guess it could be fine if you're like it really requires you to have a good understanding of the game and like, you know, be capable of surviving it and shit. Like basically being a skilled player. It really relies on you being that, and I just wanted to get through it. I wasn't like completely like balls to the wall. Like I just ignored everything at all times and just tried to like go get all the things as fast as possible. But I did try to stay on the move pretty consistently. And there like the way adventure mode works is each chapter it'll have like a couple of resources that it decides to just make null. Like there'll be some resources that you just won't get access to, and if you're unlucky enough for one of those resources to be some easily accessible food, then oh boy, you are in for a treat. Hence the name of the game, Don't Starve. That's one
Bruh.
of the most important things you need to look for.
I
So
wouldn't have
that
guessed.
yeah, that sucks. And what really sucks about like going to find all the mechanical parts and stuff is when you get to the base, it's always in like a clockwork terrain, which has all these clockwork bishops and stuff guarding it, and they're tough enemies. Like the bishops and shit can shoot at you, so that's already puts you at a significant disadvantage. And they are guarding that thing. They are guarding that thing, so you have to go through them, put all the stuff on there, and then power it up, and then choose what items, because you can only bring like 4 items with you into the next world. Choose what items you're bringing with you. Thankfully, in the console edition, whenever you do inventory stuff, it pauses the game. So that gives you a nice little moment of reprieve. But then you gotta
Mhm.
do all that, and then you gotta power up the machine, and then go ahead and go into it so you can move on to the next chapter without dying from those clockwork enemies. If you're like me and don't have like a bunch of good armor and stuff to go fight them. Uh, so yeah, that really sucked. I did eventually get through it, but it took many hours. There were a couple of days where I was literally playing the Don't Starve adventure mode the entire day. And there were
Jesus.
I think 2 occasions where I got to chapter 4 well, maybe not chapter 4. Like chapter 3 or chapter 5. I can't remember which one of those. And then I died and I was very pissed. Uh so don't Starve was a is an interesting game. I wanted to enjoy it more than I did. I really like its style. I like its like all of its creatures and the world that it builds. I like the story behind it. I like the a lot of the different playable characters and stuff. Okay, but goddamn, it is unforgiving as shit, and that kind of turned me off from it. I did manage to complete it though. I got all the achievements for it,
Look at you.
but it took a lot of fucking perseverance, and I kind of regret it because I wasted a lot of time on it.
This sounds like two different stories I'm about to fucking have on on my list.
Oh boy, can't wait to hear those.
I
But
can't wait to fucking rage at some of these stories.
oh boy. I'll have to look through this list as you start talking, so that way I can maybe try to guess which ones get your goat. But yeah, that's those are my thoughts and feelings on Don't Starve, the console edition, Giant edition, Windows 10 edition specifically because it was on Game Pass. Um, Speaking of Game Pass games, Yakuza 0. I knew of the Yakuza series for a couple of years now, but I always knew of them being available on PlayStation consoles. And as someone who didn't really have consoles in the first place, I didn't really get to experience these games until Yakuza 0 to Kiwami 2 were all available on Game Pass, as I discovered when looking through the Windows 10 store. And I think sometime this, I think in a few days, actually, if not already, I think Yakuza 3 through 5, the remasters, will become available on Microsoft platforms. And I
Nice.
think 6 a little bit later, and 7 is already out as on like the Series X and stuff. Um, so when I found out that Yakuza 0 was available on Windows 10 PC, I of course downloaded it immediately and started playing the shit out of it, and I really enjoyed my time with it. It was a really good game. You have two different protagonists you switch between, Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima. They're both really great protagonists. I think both of their stories are pretty good. I liked following both of their perspectives. And you switch between them every two chapters. I think they're really good. I think their stories are really good. I really liked a lot of the characters. It's like a crime drama, so you know it has that like kind of depth and stuff to it,
Mm.
with its characters and with its underlying story and stuff like that. I think it's very well written, actually, and is I think in the fan base itself, it's Zero and the second game are usually regarded as like the best games in the series, and that makes me really excited to eventually get to Kiwami 2, whenever I get around to doing that, because that's apparently supposed to be another one of the best games. Uh, but Zero is really nice. It has that really good story, and it also offsets that expertly with its completely ridiculous sub stories. Because that's where a lot of its humor and stuff comes from. You'll see like a lot of meme videos and stuff on YouTube saying like Yakuza 0 is a serious crime drama, and then they'll show a compilation of like silly stuff and sub stories and stuff happening. And then like the very serious Kiryu and Goro being absolute goofballs at the disco and stuff like that. I think it balances seriousness and humor very well. Uh, there are moments in the story where it got really real and I teared up a little bit. So it was nice to like next chapter go do a couple of fun little side stories to lighten things up a little bit. That lightened the load and made
Mm.
things fun. Um, it is a major time sink though. This game took a long time to complete. I played it for a good I would play it for like anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day, like probably on average, and it still took me a good few weeks. I think I want to say almost a month to complete. But then again, I
Jesus.
went and tried to do everything I possibly could, which I still have some stuff that I want to go back and do someday. Like there's an achievement for winning 10 rounds or 10 tournaments at this JCC club, which is basically a rock paper scissors minigame.
Mm.
So that's going to be fun because that's not luck based at all. There's stuff like that. I have to beat the game again on Legendary, and then there's like the one achievement that will never, that will always bar me from ever 100% completing any of these games is 100% completing the completion list, because the completion list has you like doing various tasks for completion points, which you can spend at shrines in order to get yourself perks like being able to run longer and stuff like that, get more money from fights. Um, my major issue is, uh, you know, obviously 100% on the completion list means you have to get every single completion point, and to get all of them, you have to do things like play shogi and mahjong, which are games that I, as an American, do not understand at all. And I tried to play shogi like twice, I think, and I was completely fucking lost because it's a lot like chess, and I'm really fucking bad at chess as it is, and I was already getting like those chess headaches from it because chess always gives me headaches, and that's why I don't like playing it. So,
I'll be
like
right
stuff
back.
like that, yeah,
You,
stuff
you
like that
keep
alone.
talking about Yakuza.
Okay, I'll ramble, I guess. So yeah, stuff like that kept me from 100% completion. It might forever keep me from 100% completion. Maybe I'll go back to it someday. But as like I guess it's extra tough for me as someone who is not very familiar with these things, these games and stuff. Um so I like think about those. I'm playing like Kiwami, and I'll eventually play Kiwami too, and I think about those being on the completion list, and I'm gonna be like, I'm never gonna 100% these games, but I really want to though. I'd really like to at least 100% Zero someday, because Zero is a lot of fun. It's a really good game, and it's available on Game Pass. So if anyone out there listening has Game Pass, has an Xbox One or Windows 10 PC, or even the Series X or S or whatever, uh, go to Game Pass and get Yakuza 0. Play Yakuza 0. It's really fun. Uh, I think you'll really enjoy it. So go do that. Go play it. It's
Seems
a
like a
really
fun
good
game.
game. It is. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Um. So yeah, with that rambling out of the way, on to rambling about Yakuza Kiwami. Now, Yakuza Kiwami is yeah, it's pretty good. It is a remake of the first game. So obviously the first game in the entire series, when they were first trying to figure stuff out, it's rough around the edges at some points. Its story leaves a little bit to be desired, but thanks to how Zero, which is obviously the prequel to Kiwami and all the future games that come after it, uh, with thanks to what Zero did and how it set up some of the characters that would appear in Kiwami, you do like kind of help to get a little more emotional depth in Kiwami than you would in the original game. Because the original game, there are characters like the main antagonist who are kind of shallow, but they get really fleshed out in Yakuza 0 in particular, and Yakuza Kiwami also gives them extra cutscenes to further flesh out their character and sort of shed some light on why they are the way that they are in the main events of Kiwami. Um, so Kiwami is there's not as much to say about it. It's the first game. Its story is pretty basic. A lot of its sub stories are really basic too. There's a lot of scam plots. A lot of scam plots. Like, over half the sub stories are scam plots that just involve you potentially getting scammed and or beating dudes up. So obviously, it was the first game. It was when they were still figuring stuff out. I'd say it's still a good game, but obviously, just keep that in mind if you do decide to play it. That it's like a remake of the first game in the series. So it's it's got some flaws. It's a little rough around the edges. It's also short too. It's not near as long as like something like Zero or Kiwami 2 even. You could probably beat uh you can probably beat Kiwami in like maybe half the time that it takes you to beat Zero, whether you decide to go and do everything or whether you decide to just mostly go through the story and maybe do some sub stories and stuff here and there. But that's most of what I gotta say about Kiwami. There's not as much to talk about with Kiwami. So with that, to end all my rambling, the final game that I have played over the course of our little hiatus here is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I have been playing this most recently in following hype for Resident Evil Village, which I am hyped for. I'm pretty excited to see that come out. It seems like it's going to introduce a lot more Resident Evil 4 elements with its inventory management, its increase in like weaponry because you get like a rifle and shit. It looks like, the merchant comes back and everything, and then there's that fucking tall lady that everybody's fawning over right now.
I think I'm like the only person on the internet who's not overly attracted to the Resident Evil ladies. They seem like
Yeah,
nice folk though, nice murdering folk.
they yeah, they seem like very nice, elegant, fucking cannibalistic vampire folks. Uh, yeah, I'm neutral. I'm not like attracted or anything, but I think they're cool. I like how tall the lady is, cause
Yeah.
like when at the end of the fucking like demo or whatever, when you open the door, she just comes on through, and then she like when I think she's like bent over so her head doesn't like fucking hit the hinge of the door or whatever. So when she's like comes through the doorway and she stands up, you see the fucking scale of you compared to her, and it's like, oh fuck.
God damn
But
it.
uh, yeah, the fucking people are gonna have a field day with this one.
They already
Uh,
have, Andrew.
I'm kind of scared to look.
I was too.
Um. So yeah, I'm excited for Village. So following the hype of Village and shit, I've been playing Resident Evil 7 Biohazard for the past week and a half, because I've like taken breaks from multiple playthroughs in order to like do more Minecraft grinding stuff. Um, so I only played through the base game because the DLC is a little pricey for me right now. I don't have the money for it. Um, but the base game is really good though, and I already got all the achievements relating to the base game. Uh, it's a short game. An average playthrough will take you anywhere from like maybe 7 to 10 hours. You know, that's if you're like kind of taking your time through it. When I played through seven more recently, I already kind of knew the ins and outs of the game because the first time I had played it was when around the time it had released, and I played it on an old account that I don't have anymore. But even on that account, I got all the achievements for the base game and stuff. So I kind of already knew what I was doing this time around, so it didn't take me near as long to do everything that there was to do. Playing through the game regularly, doing my completionist run, looking for all the anti coins and stuff like that. And then at the same time on that playthrough, I did the achievement where you go through the entire game only healing 3 times or less. And then a
Bruh.
subsequent playthrough, I'll wait until you hear the subsequent playthrough that I did where I speed ran the game in like 4 hours or less, or like I had to beat it in under 4 hours, which isn't an no, that was an achievement, I'm pretty sure. Because I think it's called Just Get Me Out of Here. Um, but the other one that I did for that run was beating the game using the item box 3 times or less. Which maybe that won't sound like a huge deal if you just remember where items are and you keep your inventory well managed. Thing is, 2 out of 3 of those item box uses are mandatory in the story. 2 out of 3 of them, which means you can only use the item box once. Because there's a point in the game where you have to put all of your items into an item box to enter a certain area, and then you have to get all those items back out because you need to get like a crank or something too out of the item box because you need to use a crank again. So
They
there
knew
are
what the fuck they were doing.
yeah, there were 2 points in the story where you had to use the item box in order to progress. So you can only use the item box once. On the bright side, there are 2 boss fights. Unfortunately, they both occur in like the latter half of the game where it really doesn't matter. But there are 2 boss fights in the game where if you die in that boss fight, you get the option to manage your inventory, which also allows you to pull from your item box and doesn't count as an item box usage. So that's nice, but it also, again, occurs in the later half of the game where it doesn't fucking matter anymore. Um, so there was that, and then there was the Madhouse playthrough, which Madhouse was actually pretty fun. It's not like balls to the wall difficult like it may have you believe. Most of its difficulty comes from obviously, you're a little weaker and enemies are tougher, they can take more bullets and shit. But a lot of its difficulty also comes from the fact that it remixes some things, like some enemy placements and where some items are. Uh, Madhouse has a lot more antique coins, and as such, it has more rewards and stuff too, like a defense coin, which will help you defend yourself better or take less damage from defense, or defending and shit, which you'll probably need because you take a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I wish it would have done more to remix things though. Like I wish like the bosses and stuff would have been remixed too. Jack kind of is because he like shows up and starts stalking you throughout the house after you fight him in the garage a lot earlier cuz in the normal or easy mode playthrough of the game, he won't start stalking you through the house again until you go into the bathroom and get the item you need from the bathroom, and then he'll like show up in a cutscene. But in Madhouse mode, he'll show up like almost right away after you fight him in the garage. So that was the first time I experienced that like years ago. I got kind of scared because he also has his upgraded weapon and he's all shirtless and shit too. So I was like, what the fuck? Because that was a remix I wasn't expecting, and I crouched behind the table immediately because I was like, oh fuck, he's not supposed to show up yet. I was getting ready to fucking speed run through the house to get all the dog heads real quick. Uh, so that caught me by surprise the first time. But Madhouse mode is a lot of fun with the exception of the beginning part, which is the guest house, where you fight Mia on 2 occasions. And it's easily the most frustrating and bullshit part of the Madhouse mode, and it kind of misleads you into thinking Madhouse mode is going to be like this balls to the wall, hard ass fucking difficulty. Because when you fight Mia, that's before you get access to your like item box and shit like that. You don't have any of your items. You have a hand axe, and then you get a basic ass pistol with a select amount of ammunition, and that's all you have to fight her. And that gets really fucking tough. Because that's all you have. You might not even have any healing or anything when you go into
Right.
that fight. So it's a really, really tough fight, and even playing through it more recently, I easily died like at least 6 times to that fight before I finally beat it.
That
The best
sounds like hell.
strategy, it is kind of frustrating. The best strategy that you have is when she like starts, because when the boss fight initiates when you go to climb a ladder, and then she'll break. You'll hear the chainsaw, and then she'll break through the window up above, and then will fall down onto you. So the best strategy is to go onto the ladder in order to like get her started, and then get off the ladder immediately and go out of that room and down to the end of the hallway. Close the door behind you, so that way she'll have to stall. You get the stall for time because she'll have to saw through the door, and then she'll be at the other end of the hallway, and then you can just shoot her from afar. And when you do shoot her, she'll move her head around a little more and start rushing towards you. But if you have good aim, or if you're playing with mouse and keyboard, um, it'll be pretty easy to keep landing those headshots. The best way I found to do it was do that, and then like when she got close, like hide her around, and eventually get her into like this, because the corridor is L-shaped. So you get her onto the other end of that L-shaped corridor, and then you just kind of like go by the corner, and then you periodically peek out of the corner and take pot shots at her, because by then you'll be in close enough proximity, and you'll be separated by a bit of a wall, so she won't start rushing towards you or anything. So you can just keep shooting her in the head to stun her, and she won't like do her like rush attack, which will make her harder to hit. And that's the way that I found out to like try and beat the boss more easily. But yeah, that's a tough fight. But that's the toughest part of the entire difficulty. The best way to look at how hard Madhouse mode is that if you can get past that Mia fight, you can easily get past Madhouse mode. It's that steep of like a fucking difficulty curve.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, as much as I love platinums, anytime like I look at a trophy list and it says multiple playthrough, I'm like, I, I'm out. I'm not
Yeah.
doing it. I've done it for like certain games, like Miles Morales, because the new game plus is like the game's like 7 hours. So like
Yeah, that's how
even
Resident Evil 7 is too, because of its arcade style, multiple playthroughs, especially when you know what you're doing, can take as little as like below 4 hours.
mhm. Yeah, so even on Miles, it was like I played on the hardest difficulty on the new game plus, and like since I obviously am good at the first Spider-Man game as well, it was nothing. It was like maybe 5 hours and skip the cutscenes. So like the only thing that posed a problem was like that final fight on the hardest difficulty. But yeah, so like that didn't bother me. But other than that, like I look at the Uncharted games and it's like, all right, beat the game, beat it on hard, beat it in an hour, beat it as Fat Drake, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm not
Fat
doing.
Drake?
Yeah, it's like Donut Drake or something where he's like really fat and like it changes the physics.
That sounds awesome. I have to play Fat mode.
It's awesome until like you have to beat the game as him. So after that, it's like I'm done. I'm not like I like the game. I'm just always gonna be frustrated at that like 20% mark. But like if it was just get all the collectibles, I would have been like, fuck, that's a lot. But like okay, maybe beat it a second time, like okay. But then like they start pushing it with like so many different like it's just I hate it. I
Hey, Ryan's
can't do
here.
multiple playthroughs. Yo, what up, Ryan? Thanks for stopping by.
Hi, Ryan.
I had to
Sorry, I
play a
didn't
bit
mean
of
to cut you
Watch.
off. I just saw Ryan.
No, you're good. Yeah, so you want me to get into like my huge list of games?
Dude, I've already made this recording about an hour in length, so why not?
Another hour, baby. Let's go.
Let's go! Let's
So,
do it!
so I don't know where to start with this list. Um, so I've been trying to do a lot of platinum hunting. I've gotten two, I think, since the last, and I've worked on so many more. Jesus Christ.
I can see
So,
that.
Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I got this for Christmas. I got some PlayStation gift cards. I got that game because it was fun. I love Star Wars, but it was a relatively easy plat. Everyone was like, look, 5 hour plat. And I'm like, say no more. I'll get it. So over the holidays, you see Ryan knows she was there as I was fucking struggling with that. Reminder, you can watch us live at twitch.tv/ what are we? Free to play pod? And watch us live. So I'm sitting there and like I'm there for the holidays and then Ryan's there, my friend's there, and I'm just like playing this for 3 days, dude. I'm playing it for a while. Me and my other friend were chilling and he's like, yeah, this is kind of easy as soon as you like start the game. And I'm like, I know. This is like gonna be an easy plot. This game's so fucking easy. Like the first few races, you just zoom and like you never see anybody else. So I'm like, okay. And then you get into like the next cup, and then immediately they're like, "Psych, motherfucker!" Like you like, I don't understand. I know
Did
there's
somebody say difficulty spike?
exactly, dude. I don't understand how some people like got this in like 5 hours or less. I have a friend I think got it in like 2 hours, and I'm like, what the fuck? You are mental. Like, even if you play all the races, sorry, I burped. Even if you play all the races once, still feel like it takes way longer than that. Yeah, and even Ryan says it's bad graphics on top of impossible physics. Like honestly, like there's one
It has bad graphics?
the graphic. It's a 64 game, so it's like they look fine, but like it's. I mean, they're upscaled good, but it's rough. Like it's still like you can tell everything you're supposed to see, but it's like there's some levels where like most of the track is like the same color skies, like
Uh,
the ground and stuff. It's like it's definitely rough. It's hard to tell where you're at sometimes. But there's one track. It's like in Cloud City, I think, in Bespin, and there's this track. You go, like, you start to go on it, and then there's a bottom layer. So you have to turn this corner. You have to turn a couple corners. But if you fall down to the bottom layer, it's an automatic loss. Like, there is no way that you are going to get first. Because for one, I'm pretty sure the AI just goes, psych, since you can't see me, I'm just gonna, like, go 10 times faster than, like, I already was. Because I'm a
rubber banding
computer.
effect.
Kinda, but even then, it's like I still feel like I was so far ahead of some people, and as soon as I like fell, they were in front of me, and I'm like, "What the fuck, game?" But on top of that, even if that didn't happen, that bottom course, it takes way longer to get back on course than it would be if you stayed on that top track. So you are screwed if you fall down there, and it took me like an hour and a half just on that like level. It was awful. And Brian says, I mean, it's hard to tell sometimes because the backgrounds blend in, especially in the desert. They use the same color palette for everything. Honestly, it's like if you're in a snow level, everything's white with a little bit of gray, maybe blue. If you're in a sand level, it's like it's all sand. Like there's not much variation to the levels, which is 64 game, so fine. They didn't have much like memory in those cartridges. But it's like playing it now, like going for something like that, it's rough, man. And then there's so many dumb trophies where there's this one where you have to buy all of the super powered, like all the top rated upgrades. But what they don't, like, you can essentially screw yourself over. So I had to restart the game because of this. So
Oh.
the graphics kind of blend in so much that when you're going to pick a race, it's hard to tell. But down there's a winnings thing. So I had been playing most of the game on it's like the winner gets a good chunk of change, but like second and third place gets some too. No, you want to set it to winner takes all, and that's not default. And then you can't replay the race for money. Once you've done it, you're locked in. You can't win it again. I think even if you get second, you still can't make your money off of it. So it's stupid. Luckily, you can go to the junkyard and like keep selling all your old stuff, and then like eventually like you'll find the parts you need like that are very damaged. But even that took a while of just RNG and waiting. It was such a rough platinum. Like it's one of the times where like I platinumed a game that I was loving, and then I platinum it, and I'm like, I don't regret doing it, but it's like every time I hear that game, I'm not gonna think of the fun racer that it is. I'm not gonna think of couch co-op with my buddies. I'm not gonna think how much of a great like port or a great adaptation or a great racing Star Wars game it is. I'm gonna think of how awful I felt getting that platinum.
I can still hear the pods in my nightmares.
Dude, honestly. So that was awful. And then what other plats was I working on? Fuck, dude, this is so long. I'm so done with this.
Why didn't you differentiate it by the ones you did platinum and the ones you're still working on?
Because that means I would have to put effort in, Andrew. And let me tell you, that's not what we do here.
That's not how professionals do it.
So I can't remember if I got it before we did the PS5 playthrough, but I've gotten the platinum in Astro's Playroom. It was pretty easy, but it was such a fun platinum. But for a while, I hadn't had the speedrun trophy. So you all know how PlayStation trophies work. There's a DLC list, whatever. But when they launched Astro's Playroom, they launched it with a base game trophy list and then 3 extra trophies as its own thing, which is kind of cool. One of them's like, actually 2 of them are like, I don't know why these weren't in like the main one. Like they're easy. One of them's for like beating the game. So I guess there's people that platinumed it that didn't play that last level. It was like, okay, I guess. And then one of them's like, you just have to like punch a bunch of people and then get something to punch them. Like, it's kind of easy. I don't know why it wasn't in the base game. But the other one that I do understand is a speedrun trophy. So I had been looking at that for a while. I had been sitting on 92% with the platinum, and I was content with it, but I wanted that 100%. But I was like, dude, I don't know if I can speedrun the game in 7 minutes. It seems impossible. So I
A
was doing
7-minute speedrun?
yeah. So I was doing game night with my friends, and they were talking about it, and I said that, and they're like, "Oh no, it's like specially made levels," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I re-downloaded it, and then I started playing, and like I didn't get the best time on like every single level, but I ended up getting it under 7 minutes by like a few seconds. But there's some of those that like it was so addicting to get to the end of it and see your friend score. Like I was like fighting Holden's and Matt scores like so much. There's one like electricity level that I was like I don't know why it was that one is particular that I was just like I knew the strats. I was like, I kept going, shaving seconds off, and I have such a good score in that level. There's some that are so ass that I didn't even try to do it again. I'm like, I'm just gonna hope that overall my lower scores didn't make up for this one. Because there's the one with the monkey where you have to climb up, and I'm like, I don't want to speedrun that. And there's the one with the frog suit, and I'm like, that one was kind of rough too. But the rest of them are so fun. Like the gimmick levels are alright. But like the actual like Astrobot platforming speedrun levels are so fun. So TLDR, I got that platinum.
Awesome.
Well, and I got the 100%. I've been playing a lot of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Me and one of my friends, also a co-host on Uncultured Opinions, streamed that one time when it I think last week when it came free to Epic Games. Such a fun game. I've been playing it on PS4 as well. Great game. I'll talk about more next week, 'cause I'm sure I'll have played the campaign by then. But fantastic game. Please go play it. Minecraft, we already talked about that. Marvel's Avengers. So this is a recent replay, and I mean not the campaign, but like I recently picked it back up again because Greg Miller of Kind of Funny recently got the platinum, and he's been struggling with a trophy for months since the game came out of complete 50 hive missions. So he got that, and I was like, I want the platinum, and I've been working on it, but I want to get back into that. I actually want to go through and get my Avengers plat because I loved that game, and I want to get it done before they add more trophies, or before they even like. I want to get it done before they make the PS5 version, so that when I upload my save to that, I'll get a double plat. So, you know. It's a hard plat, so I'm gonna say I earned that second plat. You know?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Doesn't that contradict your opinions on like the fucking future gen of like I think it was the Spider-Man game coming out where like
oh yeah,
people were complaining about like having to play
I
through
did
the
the
whole game
Spider-Man
again.
one too. Don't tell anybody I did the Spider-Man one, the one that I was talking shit about. But I mean, the thing with that is like with the Spider-Man one, I can remember. I don't think I was talking shit on the people that did it. I think I was kind of like just replay the game, but you can still do whatever. I only did it because I wanted my save on PS5 so I could do the New Game Plus, so I didn't have to play the game 4 times. You know, so it went ahead and just popped the plat. But I've been working on the New Game Plus and the DLC 100% as well, so I think by the time all that's done, I'll have the play time to justify that platinum again. But with Avengers, it's like, still, that's a very like long plat. So if I have 2 plats, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Because I know even when the PS5 version comes out and more content is out, I know I'm still going to play that game a lot. So it still justifies it in my mind. But either way, so the main crux that I've been doing is for starters, what the fuck is that 50 hives trophy? I don't understand. Hives are this mission where you do it and there's like 5 floors, 6 if you're an elite hive, so you just gotta go down all those floors. It take about 20-30 minutes, but it's like 50 of them. Really? Like, I don't know, man. It's just so dumb. But I've been getting my Captain America up to power level 150. And to do that, the soft cap for power, like so level, the cap is 50, but power level, the soft cap is 130. So once you hit 130, gear will no longer drop higher than 130. So what you need to do from there is you need to get a bunch of gear, get it all to 130, and then you need to like fresh gear that doesn't have any like upgrades so that you could upgrade it, you know? So because the way the gear system works, I'm trying not to like go on tangents about every game. The way the gear system works is that you get gear and then you can upgrade it either 3, 5, or 10 times. You want to find the gear that you can upgrade 10 times. So you need to get 130 gear that you can upgrade 10 times. Get it to 140 using your materials, which are so fucking hard to find in the late game. And then you want to get your artifact. There's an artifact that will give you, like, once you level it up, it'll give you 1 power level, 2 power levels. So you want to get that to, once your gear's at 140, you want to get that upgraded 10 times so that you get to 150. I was struggling getting, like, the upgrade modules and stuff to, like, necessary to fucking, it was a nightmare. But I finally did it yesterday, I think, or the other day. It was rough, man, but I'm so proud of myself. Pat on the back. So now my thing I need to do now is level up every character to 50, which it's not like insanely difficult, but it's still time consuming, and it's like I don't want to do this, but whatever.
Man, that one right there, that gives me fucking Vietnam flashbacks to, I think it was that one Mortal Kombat achievement where you had to like do a metric fuck ton of like fatalities and bone fractures and victories and play like for several weeks worth of
Oh yeah, the
playtime
one where you have to get
as
like the
every
pint of
single
blood in the
character.
playtime.
Yeah, you have to do it for every single character individually too.
That one's
And that
so
was,
bad. I will
it's a
never platinum
nightmare.
Mortal Kombat.
No, fuck all of that. I am not that dedicated to my aspiring completionism to go fucking tackle that shit.
Same,
Fuck
dude.
that.
Fuck that. That, like, Injustice 1 and 2 are plats that have, like, stared my eyes down for so long. And, like, every once in a while, I get back into it and I try. And I'm just like, I'm defeated. I can't do this. Injustice 1, there's some hard trophies. If you go on my PSN, if you go to PSN profiles and you look at my account, my most rare trophies, top 3 are Injustice 1 trophies. So like I grinded that for a little bit, and that one's possible. It just takes a lot of time. Injustice 2's platinum is straight up fucking RNG as hell.
Uh,
There's a few trophies where you need to play as a character and defeat someone with the final blow coming from a certain move. So it's like, all right, typical, annoying, but whatever. Get a second controller, just beat him a few times, and then hit that move. It's fine, done. The problem lies, Andrew,
yeah.
that some of these moves aren't in the fucking like moves list. They're not in like the character's kit at all. What you need to do, because this is the game that introduced loot boxes and like leveling up your character, which was fine and was cool because it was cosmetic. I mean, there was obviously a mode where like I think competitive, like there's a certain mode where like your stats did matter, but like mostly if you play online, almost everyone has it to where like gear doesn't matter. So it's whatever. But in some of those boxes are moves, which would be cool if they weren't locked behind fucking trophies. If you didn't need a trophy to get these moves. So I've lost almost every will I've had to putting in another 100 hours to get the Injustice 2 plat, because I would have done it. It's a great game. But I'm not sitting there spending my money or my time on RNG. for a
Yeah.
trophy.
Yeah, no. No, that's... No, Chief, no.
If I maybe had an end in sight, I would try. If I knew a rarity, if I knew like if it was grinding something maybe, but grinding loot boxes, no. No
Yeah.
way.
You know,
No way in hell.
yeah, no, because I see Injustice 2 is on Game Pass right now. Uh, I don't want to try and 100% that with that horror story.
It's rough, man. I think but you want to know the sad part?
What is the sad part?
I want to do it.
Uh,
Like I want that platinum. Like
we're
I
not addicts.
I know, right? I put myself through hell, but I still want to keep doing it. I want that platinum. I'm gonna complain about this platinum. Week later, so I got the platinum.
So yeah, I ultimately got the platinum.
Fuck that platinum. Fuck them for making me do it, but I did it.
Why would you make me go through this horrendous shit? You know I'm gonna do it. You know.
Exactly. Why? But yeah. I'm just gonna skip some of these. I'll talk about them next week, I guess. Dune 1994. I made a big chunk of progress into that platinum. There is a trophy where you have to speedrun the entire game in 2 hours, so I now know Doom like the back of my hand.
Awesome.
The trophy's title is called I'm the Man, and that's what I felt like after I popped it.
You the man. You are.
Exactly, man. But there's just one fucking trophy. It always comes down. Every platinum is like smooth sailing, and then there's one fucking trophy.
One fucking trophy. There's always that one.
It's like you were doing so well.
Right.
So there's one trophy where you have to play a local co-op playthrough on nightmare mode.
Mm.
There's no online co-op. It's a local co-op trophy on nightmare.
That sucks. I would have said like I might be able to try and do that.
Exactly. I don't. So close. I don't get some of these companies. Like, what is the point? Like, that trophy's in Doom 2 as well. Like,
Oh really?
yeah. And there's also 2 trophies. One for getting 25 kills in deathmatch, and one for getting 100 kills in deathmatch. Again, only local co-op. Those I can excuse a little bit. They shouldn't be there, but it's like whatever. I plugged up a second controller, and like I put in a podcast, and I was done in like 40 minutes. It's like I shouldn't
Right.
have to do it, but it's like whatever.
It's just some busy work.
Yeah, and it's like I know some companies are like, oh well, we want people playing certain aspects of the game. We want people spending time in our game, but it's like there's fucking 10 million games with the same exact philosophy. You don't realize what the roll off is gonna be? Like, do you think everyone's gonna do that? You think everyone's gonna stick through RNG to like grind your loot boxes to get the trophies? Like, you think I want to? You think I can find a friend that wants to go through Nightmare Doom 1994 with me?
Locally.
Local, like sitting on a couch with me playing Doom 1994 on PlayStation. Like, no. I'm the only idiot trying to do that. And then if there are other idiots trying to do that, they're nowhere around me. They can't sit on my couch.
Right.
The only workaround is I think you can do share play on PS4 to where like it bypasses it and the game will think it's like a local co-op. But I don't think that's on PS5, so I have to hook up my PS4 and go get the. That's so dumb. Speaking of that, Duke Nukem 3D. I've been trying to platinum that. I thought I'd get it in a day, and it's just fucking frustrating me, man. There's like. So the thing is with that is that the best way to get it in like an hour or so is to use cheats. So I've been doing that, and it's like there's one for getting 75 secret areas, and so I just keep reloading the same one and clipping through it. It's supposed to work, but I'm pretty sure I've done it and like it has not popped. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. And there's one where you have
It
to kill like
detects the cheating.
no, the thing is though, is like no other trophy does, and even people have said they've done it with the cheats. So I don't understand. But there's also another trophy, I think for killing 1,000 enemies, or like, and then with a certain thing, it's like I was just there reloading the same checkpoint for like 40 minutes. I was on stream, so it was more fun, but it was still like, fuck this, man. Why am I a trophy hunter? Can I just go back to the days where I didn't care about this shit?
Right. I'll tell you right now that when I was like 15, I tried getting all achievements for Duke Nukem Forever. Yeah, yeah,
That game.
yeah, big mistake.
I'll
I
tell
tried
you.
to get all achievements for it. I got about like 3 hours in before I was like, no.
I can't blame you, man. But hey, you wanna know something else I played?
What is something else that you played?
The myth. The game that I have talked to death. The game that I've had a problem with since day motherfucking one. You know the game. I want to point out that none of you guys can see it, but on the show notes, like every time I go to like talk a game on my list, Andrew will like hover over it so that I see his little like logo on each game to know where I'm at on the list. And he immediately went to the game I'm talking about. Watch Dogs fucking Legion.
Old Lady Squadron, let's go.
God damn it. I played it. I think I took notes. What did I write about this game? I don't even remember. Because I didn't play much. I still want to play more of it. Because my friend game shares with me. And we were going through like the PlayStation sale, being like, hey, is there a game you're wanting to play? Is there a game like that we have a common interest in? Because I'll get it or whatever. And then it was one of those like I was going to get it. And he was like, dude, I know you don't want to buy this game. I'll just get it, and then you can play it. And I'm like, all right, bet. So,
What a
wait, I don't
true
think.
friend.
What the? I'm pretty sure I wrote notes. Don't know where they went. Where are my notes? I had notes for Watch Dogs.
They found out they were connected to Watch Dogs Legion and they deleted themselves.
I can't blame them. I really can't. So this game is bad.
Good night, everybody.
Peace out. I debated naming. There's so many things I could have named this episode. There's so much news in this episode. I debated naming it Watch Dogs fucking sucks, like Watch Dogs Legion, and I might do it when I actually finish and review this game and platinum it because I have a fucking problem. I'm gonna platinum games I hate.
This game fucking sucks. It's the worst. I hate. So, anyways, I got the platinum for it.
I got the platinum, man. So I can.
Why do
actually
we do
say
this
it
to ourselves?
sucks. Why do we do this to ourselves? So, I played an hour and a half. Again, I need to play more because I want to say it's not fair, but I know what this game is. Like from that, I know exactly where it's going. I know, like, fuck, dude, the writing is bad. Like it is, and I trust me. I'm not a guy that goes into games like wanting to hate them. I love Watch Dogs to death. Are you telling me I wouldn't want a new one to be bad? Like I would want that game to be good. So even if I've talked shit about this game to death, why am I so gassy? I hate my body. Jesus. Even if I talked shit about this game to death, I wanted it to be good. That is why I was going to buy it. That is why I gave it a chance instead of just shitting on it more. I want to like it. But the writing is just really rough. Like, I was able to predict almost everything that happened in the first hour and a half. Like, as soon as the game starts, the spoilers for the first hour and a half, the thing that sets up the conflict, but who fucking cares? So, like, as soon as the game starts and I'm playing as this dude, I'm like, oh, he's gonna go in this mission, and then Ubisoft's gonna kill him off because they're like, oh, we're clever. Hey, you can play as anybody. You know what the fuck happens? You get to this thing and like bombs are going off, and then like your base is being invaded by these people now, and then you like go to the roof, and then like this like drone with fucking hologram of somebody's talking, and then it's like you've done your job, and then like he gets shot, and I'm like, whoa, I'm glad I predicted it as soon as the opening credits came up, like. So, and then you pick your character. I picked like this hipster looking dude. I don't know, but like,
You didn't pick the old lady?
do I look like a fucking idiot?
Yeah. Clearly
No.
you are. You didn't pick the old lady.
Clearly I am because I played Watch Dogs Legion.
No, that there is the mark of a dumbass.
Oh yeah, true. So, in the voice acting, and I know this is a touchy subject when you talk about voice acting because it's hard, like it's easy to forget that these are people doing their best job. So like I don't mean any ill will, but I still feel like I need to criticize aspects in a game. So I don't think this person is a bad person. I don't want to shit on them in any way. But the voice acting for the person I chose was fucking abysmal. Like, it was bad. Like, it was like whatever they directed this dude to do was just like whatever they were going for, they need to fire everyone who wrote that. Because it was just the acting, the delivery, the lines was just, it really felt like high schoolers like recording in like a makeshift vocal booth for like some random play they signed up for. Like it was rough, man. And then the main characters too were like Bagley's this annoying fucking British AI robot, and it's like I don't care. You're like Jarvis but way worse, and you say fuck. So it's like, okay, cool, Ubisoft. The AI says fuck. I don't care. I really don't.
Don't worry
And
about it. Keep talking.
you're good. And then just like the loop of gameplay is just boring. Like nothing in this game really pulls me in whatsoever. Like I don't care about the game. I don't care about the characters. I can't care about my main character when there isn't one. Because I clearly, like, I do not care what the guy I chose is saying. I don't like hearing him talk. So, like, it's just, I hate being this heated. I really hate, like, saying fuck as much as I do. But it's like, there's some times, some games.
Man, what
where
are
I'm just
you,
like,
British Jarvis?
exactly. But there's just some games that just like heat me up, so I'm just like I'm flabbergasted. Like I don't play Legion. Don't platinum it like I'm going to.
Don't get addicted like I have. You can still
Exactly.
save yourself. There is still time.
There's still time, man. Donut County.
Go to a Gamers Anonymous meeting.
Dude, I think I need to. I think I need to.
Little do you know, Ryan's busy setting up a fucking intervention right now.
Honestly, her and like my friend or like they always look at me like I'm so dumb, and I'm like I can't blame you. Like I like well not dumb but crazy. And like I can't blame you. I really can't, because I put up with some of the like I'm not a hardcore trophy hunter. I only have 10 platinums, but I'm trying, and I have like 15, 20 in like development right now, like in progress. There's just some I hit a wall and I'm like I need to move on. Like there's some I'll get in the next year, but I don't know. But I played Donut County, and this is an easy plat, so I got it. But I bought it because it was a couple dollars, and it looked like a really cute game. And then once I started playing it, I found out I had easy platinum, so I copped it. But I won't spend time on it. But it's a fun game. Please go play it. It's on Game Pass now. But if you want to
Oh,
play it
is
on
it?
PlayStation as an easy plat, yeah. So go play it, Andrew. It's actually a really cute game. It's like probably an hour and a half to beat, like a 2 hour platinum.
Yeah, alright, I might do that then.
It's so good.
And then I'll have something to talk about next week.
Exactly,
Next
dude.
month.
So that's all I'm really gonna discuss. I was gonna discuss Valhalla. Should I? Because that's my big thing I've been playing.
Should you? Is it going to continue being a big thing that you're playing?
Yes.
Alright, well, maybe you'll have something to talk about next week.
Alright, yeah, I'll save it for next week. And then another thing, Cyberpunk 2027, but we will fucking get to that in this episode. I'll save that for the whole segment we have on it. But without further ado, Andrew, 1 hour and 20 minutes in.
Yeah,
It's
what
time
do you
for
know?
the news. So, there's not like too much. There's a lot of news that happened, obviously, but there's not too much that like is still relevant that I want to discuss. But actually, one of these topics didn't show up on my show notes, but I typed them. I'm glad I remember it, so I'll say it now before I forget. This one makes me heated, Andrew.
What makes you so heated?
The fucking boneheads at Activision. Like, I don't understand this company. So, the news is, and I'm gonna try not to get heated, and think is unbiased news. So Activision Blizzard announced that Vicarious Visions, the team that did that did the Crash Reignited trilogy, no, Crash Insane trilogy, and what the fuck did I do? Oh,
What did you do?
I went full screen, I think. So the team that did the Crash Insane trilogy and the Tony Hawk 1+2 remasters has been absorbed into Blizzard. So they pretty much put Vicarious Visions into Blizzard to work on a Diablo 2 remake. But after that, they're probably just gonna just absorb them into Blizzard and have them work on freaking Overwatch or something. Like, this really bothers me because I hate Activision.
Oh, no
Like,
shit.
yeah. You remember when I had a feud with Activision when I had like 2 subscribers and I was like 13?
This has been a long-standing rivalry.
Exactly. Me and them have been duking it out for years. I found that video the other day because I was editing like a whatchamacallit, like a anniversary video for the past 4 years because I keep forgetting every year, and then I missed the mark this year, so it's gonna be for this next one. But the one where I'm like, so Activision, you took down my Call of Duty Zombies video. Are you scared of me? I have like 2 subscribers. Are you scared of
me? Right.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I literally tried to beef with Activision. But it's like, back in the day though, it's like they took the video down and I was so confused. Like, it wasn't a strike, or it wasn't a claim. They just took the video down and I'm like, why?
Did
I
it
was
even
just
get views?
barely got like 2. I was just playing zombies. Like,
It got as many views as subscribers.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Right?
It might have gotten no views, actually. I don't know. Maybe won by Activision, I guess.
Activision somehow came across it as the one viewer. Like, this cannot stand.
No, we can't let the 10,000 person to play Shadows of Evil Zombies have his video out. Like, I don't. Whatever. But, so I don't understand this. I hate Activision. I really do. Like, and like, I know it's gonna, like, declaring this is gonna make it so difficult in the future if we get bigger. Because I know Activision's gonna be like, why would we give you codes? Why would we be chill with you or like interview with you because you hate us? But it's like, I still want to be a journalist in the sense where, like, I will put my biases aside and review your game. You know, like Activision, if you see this now, I will review your game. But I'm also going to call out your shitty fucking, like, business practices. So I'll review your game, keep it within the context of the game, and be honest. But I'm going to call you out for the stupid stuff you do. Like, this is stupid. Like, take another team, man. Like, I get that Vicarious Visions has always kind of been a support studio. But, like, the recent stuff they've done, even if it was just remakes, was great. And they could have done, like, a Tony Hawk 3+4 DLC for the recent one. Or a Tony Hawk 6. You know? Like, it just frustrates me, man. Like, you have so much... It's so tone deaf. Like, it's like they're like, hey, these games that sold amazing. I think Tony Hawk sold fine, you know, like, but Crash was like huge, and it warranted Toys for Bob to be able to make Crash 4. So it's like these games that sold amazingly, that sold so many copies. Let's just take the team and absorb them into Blizzard. And don't get me started on Activision's like handling of Blizzard and what Blizzard's doing too, and it's just like, it's all awful. They're all an awful company. It's like they're never gonna change as much as people keep buying their Call of Duty skins and stuff. Like, they're just gonna keep doing this. Like, they've done some few good things under pressure that their devs have begged for, like what they're doing with Call of Duty, like free DLC, you know, stuff like that, crossplay. Like, I'm sure that was like the devs having to beg for years and being like,
that was a
look,
hard-fought battle.
Exactly. I'm sure they had to be like, look, dude, we can sell other things and make you money, but just like, let's make this free. Let's do this, and then people will like us. And the Activision had been like, you had me at money. It's like all companies work to make a dollar, obviously, but some do it better than others. Some companies obviously like make money, but they still care about what they're doing. Activision is just one of the most bonehead publishers. Because even like, I hate EA for the most part too, but even they have done some decent stuff where I'm like, okay, you listened, took you a long time, but like, whatever, you're doing fine. Activision is a company where I've never felt like they've ever done anything in support of people unless they were begged. Like, obviously the Call of Duty thing is the thing you could bring up, and it's like, it's either he said, she said, whether it was a dev or an Activision rep, but it's like Activision's reputation leads me to believe they would never be like, hey, let's make DLC free unless a dev begged them and then told them they could make profits somewhere else, you know? Activision's not a company where I feel like they care about review scores or anything, whereas EA kind of, after the backlash of Battlefront 2, they at least were like, okay, DICE, fix the game. We'll take out loot boxes, you know? This is like kind of getting off tangent, like off topic. It's just going into like why Activision sucks, but it's like, I don't like Activision, you know? And it's this whole Vicarious Visions thing just aggravates me to no end. Because I love Tony Hawk. I love the recent remake.
They'll come back to this podcast and take down any episodes with any mention of Tony Hawk.
Watch them though. Like, watch it happen. Then we'll beef.
Are you afraid of us, Activision?
Are you afraid of us, Activision?
Of this single nerd and his floating orb.
My will-o'-the-wisp. So yeah, do you have any takes on this?
Well, I don't have much to add other than, yeah, that's kind of shit. That kind of sucks. Especially because I didn't know that they were involved. They were the ones involved in like the Crash Bandicoot remakes, like the Insane trilogy and stuff. And did they do this? They did the Spyro one too.
Spyro was Toys for Bob, and then Toys for Bob did Crash 4. Which there's still
Uh,
a chance Toys for Bob could pick up where Vivi left off and like maybe do a Tony Hawk 3+4 DLC or a Tony Hawk 6. Like they've
well,
shown
here's
they could
hoping
do
because
it.
those guys aren't gonna do it now.
Bro, exactly.
Yeah, that sucks. I feel. I also feel bad for you because now you don't get any. You might not get any more Tony Hawk, and if you do,
Exactly.
it might not be as good.
Yeah, if we get another Tony Hawk, who's telling that it's not gonna be a THPS4? I mean a 5. It's Pro Skater 5, which is so meh. It's so funny that game's still like $30-$40 when you go into a store, which is like obviously I know why because the license has run out, so it's rare now, but it's still like I want to buy it just to fuck around and just like own it because I love Tony Hawk and maybe play with it for like 2 minutes and install the 50 GB day one patch that has half the game in it.
What?
Oh yeah, you didn't know about that?
No, I didn't. I'm not a Tony Hawk guy.
So when they launched the game, only like I think only a quarter of it was on the disc.
What the fuck? How do you fuck up that bad?
I don't know, dude. Like the company that was making Tony Hawk for a while, like after Neversoft, I think it's like Robomoto. I think they had like one or two good games, but then Activision made them pump one out like every year, even sometimes less, and their games just got shit. Like every art style was the same, and it was awful. It was bad. Like the controls just felt bad too. Everything about the games felt bad. And then yeah, the update literally like had most of the game in it. So if you buy a physical copy, like it is lost to time if the internet goes out.
Uh. Oh, that's gross. Oh, it's so gross.
What?
Uh. Just move on. I don't want to think about that anymore.
I know, man.
Just
Okay.
50 fucking move on. Just move on, please.
So Xbox Live. This is a thing that is. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear my cat, but she's like freaking out.
For a second there, I thought that was my cat
No.
because
So I'll be
it's
right.
an outdoor one, so it'll meow when it wants to get inside.
I'll be right back. I gotta let her out of this room.
All right, you do that.
Tori, okay. Okay.
His name is Corey, named after one of the greatest anime protagonists of all time. Man, that's an old ass meme. That's an old ass joke. Fucking Corey in the house being an anime. Does anyone remember that one? Ah, whatever. He's back. No time to dwell on it now.
Cats, am I right?
Right, dude.
Were you talking about the news story?
No, I wasn't. I was just rambling on about any other random bullshit. But you were talking about the Xbox Live Gold and how they were like raising the price or whatever on it.
Yeah, so this is news that's already been like solved, but we
Yeah,
could
because they
touch on it.
revoked it like pretty soon after.
Yeah. So Xbox on a Friday was like, "Hey, we're upping the price of gold." So it's like $1 more a month, $5 more for 3 months, and then 60 more for 6 months. So 6 months is now $60. So it's 120 a year. Which like first off, it's okay, I guess we'll just update the news story. It's been solved. So Xbox came back like that same night and they're like, "Look, that was a bad move. Like we're going to revoke it and we're going to finally like rid the restriction of gold for free to play games." Which is great. I'm in the camp. I think some people are like, "Oh, it took you this long to do it." I'm sure someone had to have known they needed to, but I think it was one of those like I see it as like they never really had a huge outcry, and I'm sure some people say it on Twitter, obviously, but like this was like the big outcry of like Xbox, why do you still require gold for free to play games? So it was one of those where they're finally listening, being like, why do we? You know? So that's kind of
Mm.
what I see it as, but it did come as like a shock. It came as like this weird thing. I saw someone on Twitter say that, and obviously this is he said she said, but he's like, this doesn't seem like a Team Xbox move. This seems like a Microsoft decision, you know? And I was watching a
Mm.
podcast today and they were talking about like, yeah, this seems like one of those like someone was making a decision and someone at Xbox is like, dude, no, people are gonna freak out. And then like Microsoft makes the decision and then someone's like, I told you, we
Yeah,
need to reverse it
and then
now.
people freak out, and then you're like, "Well, what did I just fucking say?"
Exactly. And like I said, this is all he said, she said. So it's like you can defend every major corporation until the cows come home. It's your prerogative.
People do that with Nintendo all the time.
Sure, dude. Oh, did you see my tweet I put out like a few weeks ago?
Which one are you referring to? Because I might have.
I put out one saying I don't like Nintendo.
Just bluntly, I don't like Nintendo.
Yeah, I gave a bunch of reasons in a thread, but like it was not received well.
It wasn't. Oh, I gotta see this.
I can give a TLDR at some point. But yeah, so for me it's just like Xbox, this isn't their MO, their MO. I think there's two explanations. It's either Microsoft was like, yeah, let's do this, and then Team Xbox was like, what the fuck are you doing? No, because it doesn't seem like a Phil Spencer move. Or it was also like, it was one of those like, we have to do this. We have to find some way to like make Game Pass sustainable, which I still believe it is. There's everyone's like, I have my doubts about how Game Pass is sustainable. Like, they wouldn't do it if it wasn't sustainable for them. Like, I'm sure, yeah, they would like to recoup money from other places, but I'm positive that it is sustainable for them in like a big way to the fact that they are marketing it as hard as they are. But there still is that point where it's like we could make as much money as we can to like keep up with all this, maybe get more things. But ultimately, like, yeah, it's not one of those things that was gonna stick. It was one of those like eventually, yeah, people would have just done it. But there was a bunch of people already returning the Series X's, which was like, what the fuck? Like now you don't have a Series X. Like I get it, it's dumb, but it's like maybe wait a couple days when news like this comes out. Like maybe wait a little bit to see what happens. Just saying. But I don't know. Like it was a big thing, and I'm still on the side of like I don't care. Like I think it definitely sucked, and it was that whole day on Twitter was a fucking bloodbath of everyone being like making dumb tweets of like Fortnite on Windows free, Fortnite on PlayStation free, Fortnite on Xbox 120 a year, and it's like I guess you're not wrong, but at the same time it's like that's for like one game. I hated all those where it was like, yes, you have to play 120 a year to play Halo. Like, I'm not paying 60 on PlayStation right now to play Destiny 2 times a week. Like, I'm paying that to play any game I'm playing, which I get the sentiment behind saying it, but it was just like, whatever. I get it. And I'm just complaining about dumb stuff. But yeah, it was a weird thing that like I'm still kind of against, but ultimately I didn't care. Like if that's where they needed to go, because it's also like there's also the big conspiracy that they were just doing it to push Game Pass, which I do and don't believe. Like it's definitely like it has the ability to be true, but it's also like I don't know. Seems like a hard push. Like I think a harder push would be like, hey, Xbox Live Gold is no more, which I don't think they will or need to. So many people are like, why don't they just get rid of gold? It's like gold's still sustainable for them. Gold is still recouping server costs. Like it's still a thing. Like I think it will be a thing, but yeah, if they really wanted to push people to do that, then that would have been a better solution than upping the price, you know?
Mm.
I always pass it to you, and then you're like, yeah.
Because that's always my default when I suddenly have to say stuff. I'll just be like, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Oh shit, I'm
It's
on.
because then yeah, because I'll start reaching for shit that I have to like try to get myself in gear to like say something to
Mm.
fucking contribute or whatever. But yeah, that whole exchange was, well, it's not an exchange, but like that whole sequence of events was fucking weird. And
Yeah.
I didn't even know about all this stuff because it was later that night. I didn't know all about this stuff until I like woke up later. So I just kind of like looked at the aftermath of all of it, and I was like, "What?" Because I just saw the like tweet that was like, hey, we heard you. We're sorry. This was not today was not great."
Yeah.
Or whatever, and we're gonna like revoke this decision, and then we're gonna of course like make uh free to play games not require Xbox Live Gold and shit like that. And I was like, what? What spurred this on? Why was today not great? Uh, and then I just found out that like they apparently upped the price and then like had to up it down, or bring it back down, later because of backlash. Like it was weird. It was it was really
Yeah.
weird, and I was
It
hit
was
with
so
whiplash
weird.
fucking seeing it just seeing it all there, like suddenly seeing that whole process of events. Probably would have been weirder to be a part of the events as they unfolded, but just
Yeah.
seeing it all there was weird as fuck.
It was so fucking weird waking up that morning, still not having my glasses on, being groggy. First thing I see my Twitter feed is Holden being like, holy shit, the value of Game Pass just went up like a lot. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? So I'm just scrolling through my feed, and then I'm seeing a couple things about like a price increase, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, what's that to do with Game Pass? And I'm just going back, and I'm like, I finally see like the big thing. And I'm like, I guess he's like kind of just joking, or like being like, damn, well, I guess Game Pass is a good deal because it's cheaper than like almost cheaper than Xbox Live Gold. So it's like it was a weird like turn of events.
Yeah, so weird. That's the only way you can describe it.
Yeah. It's like it's also like as soon as podcasts were able to like touch the topic, by the time it was uploaded,
Oh yeah,
like
it,
it was
yeah,
already
it was
solved.
revoked. It was solved. The myth was busted, and here we are covering it like a couple days later, or like a next day, or whatever.
Yeah. Sorry if I sounded like way negative earlier, viewers, if I'm like, well, fuck you, you're stupid. Like I didn't try to be that way. It's just like I try to look at it from like different angles, I guess. But I don't know. It was a weird
Centrist.
thing. I definitely don't prefer it being 120, but it's like if that's how it had to be, it's like you can't change it. But obviously, it didn't have to be, or Xbox wouldn't have like reversed it. And I also don't believe like people are like you're throwing away all the goodwill that you've gotten. And I'm like, no, not really. This isn't a cyberpunk thing. It's like it's something that we don't agree with, and it's something that is dumb, really dumb. But it's also fuck gassy. But it's also like it's not. I don't know if it's egregious. Like maybe both ways, but like I was watching the Kind of Funny X cast, and Paris Lilly made a great point where he was like, "I don't agree with this, and maybe I wouldn't if this had happened, but I wish someone would have like done an interview, not a puff piece, but an interview, just like having a human person explain to us like why this is happening. Like maybe not crunch
Communication
every
is
single
key.
what
Communication is key.
exactly. Like maybe not like show me your like pay books, but like at least like give me a brief like explanation of what the money is going towards. Like why do you feel like you need more profit now?
Hmm.
Whereas but the fact that it's revoked means to me that like they don't need the profit. Like it would have been nice, but if they needed to live on that, I don't feel like they would have reversed it. So it does feel to me like Microsoft was like, let's make more money. Like, you have your Game Pass thing, but we can make more money to support that or whatever. You Team Xbox and your Game Pass costing us a lot of money, which is like, and then there's gonna be people being like, well, Phil Spencer is the head of Xbox, so he would have to sign off on it. But like, I don't think so. Like, I don't have a business degree, but I feel like the people that own you kind of have like the right of way to be like, look, we let you make decisions, but if we want to make a decision, we can make it, you know? Andrew, I always throw it to you. You never catch it.
Sometimes you pause, and I don't know if you're gonna continue speaking or not. This is the equivalent of a dad teaching his failure of a son how to play catch.
True. Sometimes I just start talking again because you don't talk, but then by the time I talk, you're already talking, so it's like it looks like I just paused.
Sorry. We're professionals.
Are we though?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I caught the ball.
Finally, you only had to pick it up a few times.
My bad.
So the next news thing I have is just called the Game Awards, because they happened.
Oh yeah, they did happen, didn't they?
There's so many things I could talk about. I don't know if we're gonna go over it, but it's like, I think the thing that pissed me off the most is that motherfucking Arc 2 trailer.
Oh really? That's what got you the most upset?
Yeah, because I was watching it with my friends at Respawning Fire. We're all watching it together, and then like Vin Diesel shows up, and I'm like, this looks fucking cool. And then we're all speculating what it could be, being like, this is cool, whatever. And then eventually they show his arm, and it has a little thing on it. I'm like, it's fucking Arc. And everyone's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is. It's looking like this. I'm like, guys, it's Arc. And they're like, I don't know. I didn't play much of Arc. It's not really looking like it. And and then they showed off Arc 2, and I'm like, I told you.
My mom plays this all the time. I know what it is.
True, but I hate Studio Wildcard. I really do. Fix your game.
Is Arc not a good game?
Fix the first two you put out. Fix Arc. Fix Atlas. Like, every time I play them, they're so buggy. They're so like graphically bad. It's always like buggy and just like trips out. It's always feeling like it's running at like 20 frames per second. It's like it's always look really blurry, like I'm getting a headache looking at it. And then when they made Atlas, I was like, this is kind of cool. It was built on the same engine. So it's like they didn't do much. They just added like hippos and pirate ships and took out the dinosaurs.
It's a glorified expansion pack.
Don't get me started on expansion packs, because they dropped like three $40 DLCs for Arc, and the game doesn't work. Every time I say that, I know there's going to be people being like, well, I play Arc, it runs fine. But it's like, most time I've played Arc, I've seen people play Arc. It's like, I'm not saying it's a Cyberpunk, but it's just like, it has this feel to it where it just feels like it's like, you get used to it if you play 1,000 hours, but it feels so slow. It feels so sluggish. It feels so buggy. Like, it's like, and hazy. It gives me a headache looking at it. Like, and like, just the frame rate just slow, like moving. It's just dumb, man. Dumb. And then Last of Us Part 2 won Game of the Year.
Yeah. Last of Us 2 almost like sweeped most of the awards. Most of them.
I was so mad. I don't hate the game, but it's
no, it's just, I can't say anything for like definitively, because I've never played either one of the games, so I was never remotely involved with all of the hype and critical acclaim that the first game got, let alone all of the controversy and shit that the second game run into. Not just because of like, oh, it's like a bad game or whatever, but apparently there's some stuff about like crunch culture or whatever, how concerning the development of part
Yeah,
2.
but most people mad about it are just mad that like something in the story happens. They don't care about the crunch. And that's what's dumb. No one actually cares about the real issues. They just want to kind of complain about like some of the story beats. And again, I
Yeah,
say this
that's what
every
I'm
time. Criticism is different than whining about stupid things. Criticism is fine. But so many people are just whining about this game for dumb reasons.
That's what I was saying, and that kind of like proved my point. How like stuff like that, the thing that I kind of like, I'm glossing over just by describing it because I don't know that much about it because it didn't get as much attention as like just all the hate for the game in general,
Mm-hmm.
which that has a lot of issues of its own. Also, just the fact that the game ran into so much controversy and people don't seem to like it as much as they have, and the fact that like there's a lot of allegedly like some stuff going on like in the background and shit. The fact that it's still like won most of the awards and like took the spotlight from a lot of other games, like people would people were so unbelievably relieved when Hades managed to win one. I think it was like best indie or whatever, so I don't think Last of Us Part 2 would have even been a contender for that because it's a triple A title. But like
Yeah.
people were so relieved that Hades managed to win one because like apparently the story behind that game's development is that like their employees were treated like really well and shit
Yeah.
like that. Which
They
that's
got
nice to hear about
mandatory
too.
time off and stuff, I think.
Yeah, that's always really nice to hear about. Because there's I think that's a bit of a problem in the game industry, but that's a whole like fucking that's a whole other topic and debate for like a whole fucking different period of time. Because we're already running on like 2 hours and shit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was probably the part that I never really got angry at the awards or anything. Because again, I'm pretty detached from like a lot of the games and stuff because I don't really have the finances and stuff to actively follow up on everything. I just do what I can where I can.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing like just seeing a single game and at that a game that has run into as much controversy and seems to be genuinely disliked by a lot of the people who like were fans of like the series or at least the first game, like it feels like kind of jarring that like this game managed to like fucking sweep so many goddamn awards and take a lot of the spotlight away from a lot of the other games. Like these are game awards. They're like a celebration of all these different video games and the accomplishments that they have, all the work and the love that's been put into them. That's the kind of thing that I envision when I envision like a video game awards and stuff. But then you have this one game that likely, at least if you ask like a lot of general the general gaming public who watched it, like if whether or not Last of Us Part 2 was really deserving of like all of those awards, a lot of people would generally say no, and that like that it kind of disappoints me that other games didn't really get as much spotlight as they did. The kind of spotlight that I see other games getting are for stuff like the best soundtrack or the best indie game or something like that. But like best story direction, best game of the year, and all like so much of the other shit has gone purely to Outlast Part 2. Outlast, Last of Us Part 2. um, uh, and that's just disappointing. I haven't played either one of those games. I can't say for sure like whether Last of Us Part 2 is a genuinely bad game or if it's a flawed game or if it was really uh or if it was truly deserving of any of those awards, let alone most of them. I can't really say all that for sure, but like just seeing like any person can like go over to the website right now and take a look at like the winners of the year and they can just scroll through all those winners and see how many of those spots are taken up by The Last of Us Part 2, and it's very disappointing to see like this one game get like all this fucking all this praise and all this attention that if you go to like fucking uh like other like fucking media and shit. I was about to say Twitter, but like Twitter's always a cesspool of like a bunch of different conflicting opinions. But
Facts.
if you go to a lot of other like media and shit, if you go to a lot of people on YouTube talking about it, you'll generally see a lot of people like either who like just objectively really don't like the game or absolutely hate the game for any number of like more basic reasons, or people who are like not as involved in The Last of Us, or people who are who are just trying to be more fair, like when critically viewing the game with that critical lens, and saying that like it's not inherently bad, but it is does have some flaws to it, especially if you compare it to the first game, which obviously you would because it's the sequel to the first game. People like that. All those groups will generally agree upon the fact that the Last of Us, yeah, The Last of Us, just making sure I said it right, The Last of Us Part 2 isn't like this fucking amazing game that should have gotten like all of that shit. You see how well it does in the game rewards compared to its critical reception, or at least its fan reception, and that's pretty jarring.
Yeah, I agree with you for the most part. Like I pretty much agree with you. It dropping the bit that I've had with my friends and everything. Do I think the game deserves Game of the Year? Yes. I think as much as because I haven't played Last of Us Part 2 that much. I've dissected the story on YouTube videos, but I'm going to play it soon. So my opinion could change. But from what I've seen, I don't think it's that big of a deal, and I actually like a lot of what I hear from the story. Like I think it's so easy. Like we're not spoiling the game because even I haven't played it, Andrew hasn't played it, but like one thing almost everyone knows happens. Not gonna say it still, but it's like I feel like everyone's so caught up on that that they don't look at the game and really try to like understand what they're telling. And it's so easy to be like, oh well, Neil's just pushing agendas in all his games, and like, oh Neil Cuckman, and like, oh well, revenge bad. That's the whole story. But it's like, even if that's the theme, it's like going on the journey is still good and enjoyable if you're willing to accept it, you know? But from a standpoint, do I think it deserved Game of the Year? I would say yes, because it's so easy to look at the story, but almost everything around that game, I feel like Last of Us Part 2 is one of the best games this year that really pushed everything, that pushed graphics, gameplay. Like, it's not the best gameplay game out there, but like, it pushed a lot of like envelopes with this game and like really delivered something that like we haven't gotten in a long time. One of the best looking games, best feeling games, like, and then how they treated their story, and like maybe it wasn't fun because you were like in intense moments that were like, I don't want to have to make this decision, but it's like it made you think, it made you feel like eh, it's hard to say I didn't like a few things that happened in the story. This is trash. Like doesn't deserve Game of the Year. I think my big takeaway though, and the reason I was bummed is that critics loved this game, and I knew that going into the Game Awards. Critics like absolutely like adored this game, which is fine. I mean, critics like everyone wants to crap on critics for having bad opinions, but they play more games than you. Yeah, there are definitely some critics that like I don't think should have their job because they don't either enjoy games or they like just like I don't want to say where they have bad takes, but it's like there's some that are just like what are you talking about? But most critics they play more games than you. They if you like this game, that was really fun to you, but you played like 5 games this year, I guarantee they've played like 100 this year and they played like 10, 20 just like that game, you know? So it's like you kind of got to think about that. Like the reason critics loved Last of Us Part 2 is because it was different. It pushed a lot of bounds. So thing I was bummed about. It's just like I knew that going in, so there wasn't like any like surprise sweep. It was all The Last of Us. I think that was my negative reception from it. Not that it won. There's some categories where I'm like, it shouldn't have won Best Action Adventure Game because I don't classify it as that. It's like, yeah, I guess like, what is the line between a class like action adventure game? Like, where is the line? How do you draw that? But I feel like tell me what is more an action adventure game, Last of Us Part 2 or Ghost of Tsushima? Like,
That does
obviously,
remind me. There was one question I wanted to ask you.
yes.
Out of these two options, do you feel like uh Ghost of uh do you feel like Ghost of Tsushima would have been more deserving of Game of the Year, or if it did win Game of the Year, uh would you have still contested the point that maybe Last of Us Part 2 uh at least would have had like a good standing like next to Ghost of Tsushima?
That is a very good question, and I don't know how to answer it, but I'll try. I think it deserves Game of the Year? In my opinion, yes, because I connected with that game hardcore. And like I always try to look at Game of the Year because it's like there's so many people who are like, well, my Game of the Year was Fall Guys or like some weird $5 indie game I got in the store, and it's like for you that is fine, that is perfect. Like if you enjoyed the game the most, amazing. That's all what games are about. But when I look at Game of the Year overall, picking one Game of the Year for a big publication, like I try to look at it like, yes, I still have to enjoy this game. I have to have some connection with it, but also like I'm not gonna put some dumb multiplayer game I had fun with for 300 hours. I'm going to put a game that I feel like really showcase what games can do, what games can be. A game that the devs worked insanely hard for like 7 years and like really pushed out a polished piece of art. That's how I look at Game of the Year. Obviously, if I don't like a game and I still think it does that, I'm still not going to say it's Game of the Year because it has to have both. But you get what I mean. So, to
Hmm.
your question, I still do think Ghost of Tsushima should have won, or at least I would have preferred it because every bit of that game felt like I was doing the main story. Like every time I find like a Mongol camp, like every game has enemy camps, take out all 20 enemy camps are throughout the map. But on this one, when I found those Mongol camps, it felt like I was helping Jin rid Tsushima Island of the Mongols. Every time I found a hot spring, even if there was like 20 of them, 30 of them across the map, every time I found one, I felt like, oh, this is a time for Jin to rest and like heal up. And even if I liked it because it gave me more health, I still thought it was cool because like Jin is resting, he's reflecting on what has happened. He has a time to like just reflect, like I just said. So like everything in that world, besides maybe the 70 fox dens, but like even those still are fun, most of them, but almost everything felt like it served the story. It was an amazing world. I do feel like I disagree with a lot of people where it felt like a very video gamey game and like basic and everyone's done it before. Like I think it's one of the best open world games I've played. That world was fantastic. So yes, I do think that it should have won Game of the Year. Do I think it should have won it over The Last of Us 2? Is a hard question. Or like would I have contested it? I No. If Ghost of Tsushima won, no part of my brain would have been like, oh, Last of Us should have won though, because I didn't play the game. I like a lot of aspects of the game, and I'll defend those points, but I haven't had a chance to make that emotional connection yet because I haven't played it yet. But I think, I don't know, it's difficult. So no, I don't think I would have complained, but I still would have looked at Last of Us and been like, yes, I do think Last of Us would have been a solid second, but if I'm looking at both of them right now and I'm like, what pushed the boundary of games more? Maybe I would pick The Last of Us, even if I personally connected with Ghost more, but it's difficult but like I do think the team at Naughty Dog really like made something special with Last of Us from everything I've seen and how my friends really connected with it and like the story they told with like all just like it it sucks because I know people are gonna be like, oh, it only wins because the graphics looked good because like it ran smooth, but it's like it still felt like a leap in terms of what video games have done. Like how smooth that game felt, or like how like everything weaved together, how like motion mocap everything like it did feel great. So I don't know. It's hard to answer that question, but I do like that a lot. But personally, I still would have picked Ghost, but I still do think that Last of Us deserves it, I guess, even if I'm bummed that like everything like it swept everything when I feel like there's some categories it shouldn't, you know?
Right. Well, that was my contribution.
No, you had a really good question, dude. I was actually taken aback.
Yeah, cause before the show, I was like looking through the all the Game Award winners because I wanted to refresh my mind, and I did see that Ghost of Tsushima was a contender for the overall Game of the Year, and I knew how much you liked that game. So when I saw that, I was immediately like, okay, I want this is a question that I want to ask because I'm genuinely interested to know. Because I was also interested to know like what your thoughts and feelings were on The Last of Us Part Two, is because I didn't know whether or not you played it or not, because you have like the hardware or the console with which to play, but I didn't know if you actually did or not.
Mm.
Unlike me, so I was wondering if I could get the perspective of like a friend who at least like either played it or like experienced it a little bit, to see what their unique opinion would be, and I also wanted to see what their opinion would be like for other games on that list, and like whether or not that game deserved to win or over others, or whether they would have personally liked one of those games to win over Last of Us.
True. Yeah, if you ever want to hear more about Last of Us Now Should Have Win, talk more to Holden because he loved that game. But yeah, that's the Game Awards. I guess that's really all to take away from it. Is that Arc 2 sucked and Last of Us took everything.
Yeah.
And I do want to say that we don't have a big audience, so I can't reach people. But I hate the hate towards Naughty Dog. Like there are things that they need to do better. Like the crunch was awful, but it's like everyone was just hating on every Naughty Dog dev or Neil Druckmann or anyone that like took an award, and I just think that's ridiculous. Like, sure, Neil Druckmann kind of acts really young on Twitter sometimes, but like I can defend it somewhat because like try getting ridiculed by like 200 people every day and then go tell me you're not gonna like either get a little frustrated or start just trolling people, you know?
Mhm.
So it's like I don't know, but just be respectful. It's just video games, man. It ain't that serious. So this takes us to our main topic. Hopefully this episode isn't 3 hours because I'm so tired and I have to go to bed for work soon.
Let's see what we're at right now. We're at 2 hours 8 minutes. We'll got like what 52 minutes to kill. Let's do it.
True. So Cyberpunk, Cyberpunk. It did this game. I don't understand what happened, man. I was rewatching some of our episodes last night, and I got to the point where we talked about the Cyberpunk delay, and some of what I said holds up. But I remember I did say I was like, "Look, everyone's complaining about a delay, but it's like, chill. Cyberpunk's gonna be good. You're gonna love it. Like, there's no way it's bad." And I'm like, whoa. But to clarify, I will give my review because I have beaten Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, you
And
full on beat it?
yeah, I beat it. I didn't expect to. It's actually kind of a short game, but I loved it. Like I did fall in love with Cyberpunk, but this whole thing around it has like tainted the name of this game, tainted its like reputation. And I'm writing a script about it that I'm really enjoying. But it's hard to talk about this game because you have to preface so much like, I love Cyberpunk. Yes, I've seen what they've done. Yes, I know it was really buggy. Yeah, that's not what they promised. Yeah, they've said some dumb stuff. Like, but ultimately, like, I loved this game. Is it what they promised? Not really. It's somewhat of a dumb RPG in ways, but the world was just so fun to enjoy. The gunplay was still kind of bad. Like, I remember looking at it and being like, I'm not hyped for this. The gameplay looks bad. And I get to say, I fucking told you. No, I'm just kidding.
I was right! Me!
I was right! Feed my ego! But no, like, it's still, the gameplay still, like, it still looks clunky. It's still kind of a generic FPS if you're not doing the hacking stuff, which that doesn't feel like it's forced. If you want to hear all my thoughts on it, or most of them, I did a spoiler cast with my good friends, Nerds at Large, and then Holden was on it too. Like, we went on their pod, talked about it for a while. I was like, go check that out if you want to hear our spoiler thoughts. I think there's like a spoiler-free zone at some point. But I liked the game a lot. But, like, it's not better than The Witcher 3 by a mile. Like, it's in my top 50 list, maybe towards 10, 20, but, like, it's there. I do think they made, like, a top-tier RPG that's going to go down in history. Well, it's going to go down in history either way. But, like, I think when people play it and, like, if all this hadn't happened, I think people still would have been disappointed because it wasn't, like, this amazing, like, futuristic kind of, like, game to end all games. Like, the hype is surrounded. I think part of it has to do with too much hype, too many expectations, and also, yeah, CD Projekt Red kind of being like coy with what they were saying. There's this big expose Jason Schreier did from Bloomberg. I don't like all these exposés sometimes because it's kind of like, okay, I don't really need to know that, or some of this is dumb, but it's like trying to get out of that headspace and like, because I have to like force myself to like not be like, I don't really care, I enjoy it. Like for the show, like I have to force myself to like get mad about certain things that like we need to raise awareness of, and not in a way. Because I know some people hear that and be like, well, if you're not mad, don't force yourself to be mad. But it's one of those like, if something is dumb and it will hurt gaming, I kind of do have to come on here and be like, even though we have like 3 viewers, I do have to come on here and be like,
and
this
2
is
of those
dumb.
are us.
You shouldn't do it. Yeah, 2 of them are us. The other's my mom. But like, I do have
She's
to.
not gonna like what you had to say about
dumb.
Ark.
Dude, she tries to get me to play it all the time, and I'm like, Mom, I can't. Like, Ark's just bad. And she's like, if you're giving it a chance, I'm like, I'm the one who told you about Ark. No, it's funny because I remember like I used to be obsessed with the game before I played it. I was watching all the early access videos, but there was one time we were going through Xbox Live Gold. We were looking at the deals, and she pulled up Ark, and I'm like, Mom, you would love this game. This game's cool. Let's get it. And she's like, I don't know, it's not really my thing. And then like a year or two later, she like picks it up, finds someone else told her about it, and she started playing it, and she's obsessed for years. And I'm like,
oh, how the turns
okay.
have tabled.
How the turns have tabled, but it's also like, you've betrayed me. But back to Cyberpunk. It's tough. Like, it is tough to describe this game, like to like discuss this game. So, do you have any like thoughts of just seeing like from the sidelines, like the aftermath of this game?
Well, most of what I know from like how it was received and how it like came out and shit had admittedly mostly to do with the memes. Like the one with the fucking like the car that just like keeps trying to like correct itself, I think, like trying to correct itself in its parking, but it just
Yeah.
keeps going like left and right and left and right, or keeps doing some other, like I think it does some other crazy thing too, like that was actually crazy or whatever. But like the person turns a little bit and they don't even turn all the way away before the car is just suddenly in place. They don't even turn all the way away, so you see the car just suddenly snapped right into place. And I there was this other meme where there was a guy in a fucking wheelchair, and then he punched the guy in the wheelchair, and then the guy in the wheelchair got up and ran away with his legs. And and there were like lots of ones like that, and like every time like those things happened, then it would just start show the title and start playing the theme like da 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 da, and it was very funny, especially as someone who was never really terribly involved in like the hype surrounding the game, or was never really actively following it. In fact, until we started discussing Cyberpunk on the show, I didn't really know anything about Cyberpunk at all. I had heard of it a month and a half prior to when we first started talking about it. And then we started talking about it, and then that's when I learned a little more about it. So, uh, yeah, and it came out not too long after that. So I never really had any chance to, like, follow the game, really, or get swept up in any of its hype. All I knew was that it was a game that was being worked on for a pretty long time. I think it was like 7 years or something, something
Yeah,
like
they
that.
announced in like 2012, 2013. Which I
Yeah,
do want to say, like, just real quick, I did say in that last episode, and it rings true more, whether because we were discussing the delay, and I was like, this is just an example of don't announce your game until like you're confident in it. Don't announce it before it's been in development or whatever. And we didn't know it was gonna be buggy. It was just the fact that it kept getting delayed. But now that it's buggy, it's like, yes, this is a lesson. Don't announce your game until it's like 70% complete, until you're almost in like bug testing like territory.
yeah, final polishes and such.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, just as someone who's like had that kind of perspective, just seeing the fucking how big this game blew up again, because it was already like kind of a big thing that blew didn't really blow up, but it was followed because of like it had a lot of build up because of the long period of time it was in development, all the hype that was getting built up, getting collected on those tracks, and then the memes from the bugginess had that big fucking like that giant ass fucking like whatever explode into something beautiful. Beautifully awful. It When I look at these memes and stuff, I like the impression that I get from like this sort of RPG, first person RPG like game that's really buggy. It gives me the vibes of a fucking Bethesda game.
Yeah.
Like fucking Skyrim and shit like that. So that's like kind of the way that I personally like view it when I look at all this shit. I don't know too much detail about like how much CDPR or Studio Project Red or whatever like kind of acted coy or whatever, or how much they may have like kind of blended the truth or whatever, because I heard some things about that, and it seems like that's something you're going to touch on a little bit later. I didn't know a lot of details about that, but I mainly just knew about like the fact that it's this game that was out for a really long or not out for a really long time, but that was in development for a really long time, kept getting delayed, and then when it did come out, it's like, where did all that time go?
Yeah. Hold on, sorry.
Oh wow, Jesus, your face completely fucking morphed into the Discord messages for a second.
Yeah, I had to do some weird thing with my camera earlier. But it's just it's weird. And like I knew talking to you is going to be one of those things where like you like when games are buggy cuz you like to be able to laugh at it.
Right. immersion isn't that big of a deal to me when it comes to these kinds of games, at least. But I
Yeah,
can understand why people are disappointed, though.
I'm a guy that I don't know why, and call me like simple or like dumb, but it's like I've never been mad about bugs. Like I've never been a guy to get a game, and whether that's like being conditioned or like just as a kid playing on an old PC or something, and like the game's always laggy, so it's like I got used to it, or just playing games that were broken. So it's like I've never cared. Like if it's got an issue, I'm like, damn, that kind of sucks. Like playing through Valhalla, still the lip syncing's off, but like I'm usually reading subtitles or something, so I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm
How
still
did
in this
you
game.
how did you feel about the Unity fucking faceless guys?
I played it after launch, so I didn't get any of those, but like
Oh, you had to be
seeing them
there.
are nightmares.
You had to be there. It was glorious.
But yeah, so it's like, and that being said, if I got like some of these, if I got the bugs that are in some of these videos, or like almost every second there's a bug, yeah, I'd be kind of pissed. But like, if I just get some bugs every once in a while, like I don't care. Like I had some in my playthrough, but I didn't get much. Like I played on PS5, so the backwards compatible with the PS4 version. So I didn't get that many. It still didn't look that good. There's times where the game like looks really good, and there's a lot of these people being like, "Oh, just do these settings and you'll get your game to look like this." And I'm like, "How the frick did you do that?" Because those settings do not do that for me. The game still looks kind of poo poo, but it's yeah. So I mean, for me, I enjoyed it. I had a really good time with it, but having to be objective for this like little time, and I sent you that article. I don't know if you're reading through it, but
Oh my god, did you add some shit to the fucking list again mid-recording? Or no,
I
did
sent
you
it.
send
I
it on
DM'd
Discord?
it to you.
Oh, you sent it on Discord. That's what you did just now. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, cause I didn't finish the show notes and give examples. Like I know the basic takeouts from this Jason Schreier Bloomberg article. So one of the things they talked about is like the E3 demo in 2018 was fake, which it's like I kind of want to be mad about, but it's also like I'm not a game developer, so like I'm sure a lot of E3 demos maybe are not fake, but I don't care if a demo's fake if the game comes out and it's fine. Like that's not something I'm going to care about. Those people that hear that and they're like, "What? It was fake? Those are liars." But for me, it's like if you have a proof of concept for your game and you make that demo and then you execute that proof of concept, I'm fine with it.
It's
So I
long
don't
as long as you can deliver.
exactly, that's what I was gonna say. So I'm not mad that the demo is faked. I'm just like jaded because they didn't follow up on that fake demo. You know, like there's so many like and Woodhawker or Beat 'em Ups. I watch him a lot. He has a video called CD Project Red are all liars. I don't like the title because that's overgeneralization and it's dumb. But I do like the video because he goes like in depth on like showing all the systems that they promised were like going to be in the game, and then you boot up the game and it's like the most dumbed down like the NPCs. They were like, oh, the NPCs are gonna have realistic like life cycles. They're gonna get up in the morning, brush their teeth. They're gonna go to work. They're gonna slug away at the corporate machine. They're gonna come back, stop for a churro. They're gonna talk to their buddy down the street. They're gonna go watch a movie. They're gonna go to the porno place. They're gonna grab a DVD. They're gonna go back, go chill at the park, get on. No, like you follow an NPC and they kind of just like walk a little bit and then turn around. Sometimes they just disappear.
Oh,
Like you
I
can
love
follow an
that.
NPC, they just like
You round the corner and they're gone.
exactly. Oh no, you just
Oh, you
see them
see them
disappear in
disappear?
front
Oh,
of
that's
you.
even better.
They just fade out of existence.
You see, shit like that, bugs like that, are like funny to see and shit. But like bugs that like break quests and stuff can be noticeably more
Yeah.
frustrating to deal with and shit. I like the ones that are just fun to look at and like make funny things happen.
Yeah, I brought up Greg Miller earlier because he's been having a lot of trouble with the Avengers plat. He also had a lot of trouble with the Cyberpunk plat. So he basically had to like replay like 40 hours because like the game glitched and it didn't count that he did a certain thing. And then he did that again, replayed a lot, finished all the district that he needed to get the collectibles for. But so the missions he was doing, when it would say, "Hey, you did that," it wasn't doing it for the mission he just did. It was doing it for the mission he had previously. So by the time he got to the last mission he had to do, it was crediting him for the second last mission. So it wouldn't credit him for that last mission. So he was stuck on that platinum for a little bit, but they finally released a bug fix and he got the platinum. But it's dumb. Like all those like game breaking bugs or like platinum bugs, like those are the worst. Trying to platinum a game at launch is always like scary territory because you don't know like what trophy's gonna be bugged.
You never know what dangers lie ahead.
Exactly. But yeah, it's like it does suck seeing just the dismay, just like the downfall of CD Projekt Red. Like they still have goodwill in my book, like not as much, but it's like again, I'm not a person just be like, fuck you. Like I'm like I like Witcher 3. CD Projekt Red has always done good. I liked Cyberpunk, so it's like if they announce Witcher 4 with Siri in it, it's not like I'm gonna be like, I'm not buying this. Let's see the reviews. Like I'm just gonna play it and I'm gonna make my own decision. And if they announce something, I'm not gonna like take every second to be like, hey, you guys remember when CD Projekt Red did this? No, like it's gonna be in the back of my head, like they've really fucked up this launch, this whole game. Like if it wasn't like marketed like it was and it came out and it wasn't buggy, then it would have been fine. I think some people would have been like, this isn't my thing. This is kind of a dumb RPG, but it wouldn't have blown up the way it did. But it was the way they handled it. And then like, it was the leadership at CD Projekt Red. Like, I don't want anyone blaming the devs. Like, they crunched their lives away to like make this game that they wanted to make or like were forced to make, but it was the leadership. And then they released a apology, which I don't know why people are mad at. Like the apology, like he literally was like, "Yo, it is our fault. The leadership takes responsibility for it." But I think people are mad because there was a part where he was like, "All right, well, here's our reasoning for it," and people just want to hear people say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Everything I did was wrong." Where it's like, no, I want to hear like their decision, even if it was dumb. Like I don't know game development. I'm not gonna go and say that like I know that playtesters like found all these bugs and they just let it slide. Like I'm sure there was some issues. I'm sure they knew something was kind of up, but like I'm sure there had to be something where it was like on their test it was decently fine. Like I don't think they knew it would blow up like this, you know, but I don't know. People are digging into investor calls and finding stuff, so I could be wrong, but it's like it is a mess. This whole thing is a mess. Like I hardly want to give my review anymore cuz like this whole like even I'm also tired and can't figure out what I want to say besides I like it, but this whole like situation is just frustrating as all hell. Like they really did lie about a lot of stuff that was going into the game, whether or not it was a lie or just a hey, this is what we're doing, and then they just didn't inform to tell people, hey, what we said earlier, we couldn't figure it out. Like they could have said that and people would have been frustrated and canceled the pre-orders, but I feel like it would have been fine if they had come out and said, look, we promised these things. It didn't plan out the way we wanted it to. This game is so complex and it's just like it we just couldn't do it in this time. I think people would have been like, all right, whatever. But instead
They
they
would
just
have
like
pieced out like those NPCs do.
exactly. But instead they just kind of like rolled with it, and then that's where the expectations were kind of like you didn't meet these. So for me, I had no expectations. The game looked bad to me. Did not look enjoyable. So I came in and was like, oh, hey, this is fun. But for someone whose life was like anticipating this game, then sure, it was probably disappointing. And it does suck because like the hype for Cyberpunk I know was probably like fun for a lot of people. If it was, it does suck because it's like goodwill goes a long way. When you have a studio that hasn't done a lot wrong and makes solid games, it makes being hyped for them more fun. Because like everyone was like, dude, Cyberpunk's gonna be great. It was like a cultural like touchstone in the gaming world to like know what Cyberpunk was. Even if you weren't hyped, you were like, oh, okay, it's Cyberpunk. It's a big deal. You know, and it sucks that like we'll probably never have that again because of how fucking botched this was. CD Projekt Red will never get this way again. I feel like their goodwill could be saved, but I don't think they'll never have a game that's blindly hyped anymore. You know,
Hmm.
it's so yeah. That's my piece.
Yeah. Thinking about it that way.
So my
Yeah.
throat hurts.
It's kinda... What the fuck was that? I saw you pull on your neck like it was a goddamn turkey gizzard. How do you do that?
That's why my throat hurts. What do you mean? How would I do it? I just grab at it.
That's so
I
much.
grab at my
That
gizzard.
looks like so much excess.
Are you calling me fat?
No, I'm calling you like excess skin, like because like I can try to do it, but I can't pull it out that far.
Do I
What
really
the?
have like a secret gift?
Yeah, you have a secret gizzard. I don't know if it
Nice.
applies to your cheeks.
Is it part of my big forehead? Ow.
I don't know, it might. Anyways.
Anyway, I got this book.
Yeah, where are we at now? We're at 2 hours 30 minutes.
Assassin's Creed lore book.
That's very nice.
It's really cool.
It looks really cool.
Anyway, say your piece on Cyberpunk.
Yeah, my whole view hasn't really changed since I said it like 2 minutes ago.
If only it was 2 minutes ago.
If only it was. Yeah. I can only say so much about like all the other like background stuff behind it without like retreading stuff that I've already said because I don't have all that I don't have all that information and shit. I don't have all that following. I don't have all that hype. I don't have all those personal feelings of attachment. Blah blah blah, etc. etc. My whole consensus with like my experience, not so much playing the game, but viewing the memes from people playing the game, was that it just is basically like kind of gave me the same vibes as like some of those other Bethesda games, you know, like Skyrim and shit. Like it's a fun game. It's bugs can be kind of fun too when they're not like fucking game breaking and shit.
Mm.
It's just fun. Maybe it's kind of dumb. I don't know. You described it that way, so I guess I'll have to wait for like whenever I get the opportunity to play it to see for myself if it is dumb and if so, how dumb it can be. With whether it's dumb in a good way or a dumb in a why do they do this kind of way or or whatever. Um, I think it's just a decent little game that unfortunately stayed in its development limbo for way too long, and because of that and because of all the promises that were made, it just was made into a much bigger deal than it probably ever should have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I can't really think too much to say about it. Like, I think I'll talk more about it because I want the platinum. So I'm gonna dive back into it. It's disappointing. I'll link my video when it comes out on the free to play Twitter. But this whole thing just like it does have me down because it's so hard to discuss a game that's like, and I'm a huge fucking fan of Avengers. So like I do know how it feels, and now with Cyberpunk, it's like this was not a good year for me to be a fan of some games.
Mm.
So, but it's like it's such a bummer because it's like you can't go anywhere. Like I can't go on Facebook or whatever, being like seeing people bash the game in like groups. I'm like, well, it's actually a fun game without getting laugh react or like someone being like, you're fucking stupid. Like, did you play the game? Like, I get it. Like, you shouldn't need to give CD Projekt Red your money if you don't want to. If you have the chance to play it, like, just go in with an open mind, man. Don't go in with a hate mob. Like, oh, this game was buggy. I get it. Like, it shouldn't launch like that, but there's so many people being like, well, they killed it for me. I'm never going to play it. Why? Why do you feel like you need to stick to that kind of like moral? Like, if it's on sale, like half off or something, and the bugs are fixed, give it a chance, man. Like,
Isn't that kind
I
of what
don't.
happened with No Man's Sky
Yeah,
when it
exactly.
came
But
out?
even then, it's not like they just, like, that was a little different because, like, they didn't just patch a game, they, like, added content to it,
Gotcha.
which was impressive. But it's like, I don't have time to stay mad about all these things, man. I'm just here to enjoy games, and I don't understand how some people come into this games industry just to be mad at things. It's like we need to be mad in the moment about certain things, and we need to tell companies, no, this is not okay. What the like, stop. We're not going to buy this if you put out garbage. But at the same time, to say that you're never going to play a game that is pretty solid just under a bad launch because it like ruined something for you, it's like, come on, man. You're in the games industry to like because you want to have fun and play games. Just like after the time has passed and they're not making their launch window sales, pick up the game on sale. You know, go and GameFly. They have like Avengers for $12. Cyberpunk will probably be on sale here soon. Like, just try it, man. Because I don't have the time to stay mad about every single thing. I'm going to pick up a game that's reviewed poorly to see if I enjoy it. That's just kind of how I am. I know I always have the opinion of liking everything everyone hates, but that's because I just stopped caring. Like, I'm not to say like not to flex and say it's a power move to be me, but not caring, like I have a lot of fun and I make a lot of good experiences just when I stop caring about the little things. Obviously, be mad in the moment. Don't give them your launch window money and tell them that this is fucked up and vote with your wallet and tell them, no, you're not doing this. But like I said, you should still probably pick it up and see for yourself. Borrow a friend's copy.
Games are supposed to be fun.
They are, man. Too much drama.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
yeah, that's what we're here for though, to talk about that drama sometimes.
yeah, it does get depressing sometimes. Remember when we just played games and just had fun with it?
Remember when we played Minecraft?
Well, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, remember when we played Minecraft?
Minecraft's so fun.
It
And with
is.
that is the end of the free to play podcast because I have to piss and I'm tired and I might play more Avengers tonight. And I haven't ate yet, and it's almost 12 now. So
Jeez,
thank
a whole list of problems.
exactly. So thanks for joining. If you stopped by on the live stream, I appreciate it. You saw some things I'm gonna edit out in the final one because there's a lot of issues starting this thing up, but hopefully next time is better. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed us whining about stupid stuff, and I really hope you guys have a nice day. See you guys next week. Peace out. I love you.
Bye!